welcome everybody to the Aegeus Bowl here in Southampton. It's slightly gloomy and overcast here for what will be, hopefully, a very exciting climax to England's chock-a-block summer of white ball cricket. 12 games in 24 days. It's been non-stop action, as Jeff was just saying as well, under their new captain, Jos Buttler, yet to win a white ball trophy. That could change today, though, if England are victorious. They've started well already. They've won the toss today and elected to field with overcast conditions, perhaps sensing a bit of swing in the air, a bit of assistance from the atmosphere. I'll tell you the teams for England. It'll be Jason Roy, Jos Buttler, David Malan, Johnny Bairstow, Moeen Ali, Liam Livingstone, Sam Curran, David Willey, Chris Jordan, Adil Rashid and Reece Topley. David Willey, they're coming in for Richard Gleeson from the previous game. And for South Africa, Quinton de Kock, Reza Hendricks, Riley Rousseau, Aidan Markram, David Miller, Tristan Stubbs, and Dide Paklakweo, Keshav Maharaj, Onrik Nokia, Lungi Ngidi, and Tabriz Shamsi all set for action. Still a little bit gloomy. They did have the covers on a little bit earlier. There was a bit of drizzle about in the air, but that seems to have passed over now. And it is a fantastic crowd out today, still filling up a little bit. Some people had a bit of trouble coming in from the train station. There's a lot of train strikes going on, and a hire car shortage apparently in the UK, I'm told, at the moment. But despite that, it looks very, very populous here in the Aegeus Bowl. Always a lovely, lovely venue to watch international cricket. You can see the stands on the hotel side of the ground. Very, very busy, very, very populous. Lots of people with their drinks and their beverages ready to go as well. And England will be ready to go here as well. High stakes here. The last international match they're going to be playing for at least a month and a bit in white ball cricket. The next assignment will be against Pakistan. 7 T20 matches in September, and then on to the World Cup in Australia. So a lot riding on this game. We've got a great crew today. My name is Atif Nawaz. Very pleased to be joined by former England international and all-round superstar Ebony Rainford-Brett. Ebs, how are you?
I'm all right. I think the weather's going to hold, right? We were out there a moment ago. There's a couple of sprinkles, but I think we're going to be good.
Yeah. Is it one of those umbrella days because you're on the TV today on the highlights? Don't forget, you can watch clips of today's game, by the way, on the BBC Sport website and app, and, of course, the highlights on later on tonight on BBC Two. Did you have to have the umbrellas out today? Or
yeah, they came out for a little bit. It was, I think we were doing the links, and it had, on the camera, there were blobs across it, and apparently it was making my head look a bit dodgy, so we had to wait, clean the camera and get back to it. So I think basically my point is we're going to have showers, but I don't think it's enough to stop this game.
Yeah, well, I hope not. And if there's any sort of rain in the atmosphere, it's getting blown away by these flames that are rising up just in front of us in the hotel end of the ground, and of course the opposite end as well, the pavilion end. Lots and lots of these flames shooting up. My word, they've really loaded up the gasoline today. And don't worry, there's something about dodgy images today. I took one off our producer a little bit earlier that wasn't super flattering. Sorry about that, Jamie. But yeah, I see the England team walking their way out at the moment. We're going to have Tamal Nils on the commentary as well today, as well as on the highlights program later tonight. Daniel Norcross, Nikesh Ragani is going to be on 5 Live giving updates of the game. And I know there'll be a lot of people interested about what's happening in my hometown, Wembley, today. Big Euro final as well. Excited about that later on. We'll keep everybody updated on the score in Wembley when that kicks off at 5. But
and the Commonwealth Games, you were also checking out India, Pakistan women.
Were they playing today?
Well, I don't know. Your Twitter was saying so, wasn't it?
Yeah, a big win for India today by 8 wickets in the end, with 6 overs to spare in a rain-shortened game as well. So very dominant performance for India against Pakistan.
Sorry.
As is to be expected, I suppose. There's a big gulf between those teams at the moment, but a big learning experience, I think, this for Pakistan in the Commonwealth Games. And all that Commonwealth Games action, by the way, there's a game on a little bit later on as well between Australia and Barbados, and I believe that's going to be on the BBC Sport website, so you can tune into that later on. I believe it kicks off at 6. It's not going to kick off, it starts at 6. The football kicks off at 5. We're going to start here very shortly as well. I can see the opening batters out there. Quinton de Kock just marking out his guard. He'll be a little bit aggrieved, Quinton de Kock. He's not had the chance to have that big innings. He looked like he was going at Leeds, and then the rain intervened without him getting to his 3 figures. But other than that, he's not really had one of those games that we've seen him do too often, where he just kind of stamps his authority on the game. Every fast bowler I've ever spoken to says that they just hate bowling to him. It's like they just, he's one of those batters who makes bowlers genuinely uncomfortable.
Yeah, he's an unbelievable batter, just in the way he takes the game. He's also very technically correct. he can hit 360. He got himself in trouble in the first T20, slapping it straight to extra cover. He hasn't quite got going. You know he's always around the corner.
Well, here we go. David Willey at the top of his run. Quinton de Kock on strike. In comes Willey now from the hotel end. He bowls back of a length and push defensively just in front of point. And there is no run. Applause from the crowd. Good to see the action underway. Lots of snacks doing the rounds. I know, Ebbs, you're always keeping your eye on the snacks and stuff.
I just loaded up on a little curry.
All right, what did you go for? Did you go for the chicken or the
chickpea?
Oh,
chickpea
nice.
was in there. Well, I had a bit. There was a lot of stuff chucked in there. I just ate whatever was going, really.
Nice.
It's nice.
Yeah, good catering here at the Aegeus Bowl. Now then, David Willey with a slip in place. Deep third as well, and deep backward square leg. And he comes again. Slightly fuller, thick inside edge off the bat of de Kock. Back to the bowler, and there is no run. Looking to shaping to play that through the covers, but not quite getting a hold of it. And David Willey just bowling within himself at the moment. 78 miles an hour that last delivery. Just focusing on getting his rhythm and his line right to start with. There's always a little sense of anxiety, I imagine, running in when you're bowling to Quinton de Kock. He's a remarkable player. In comes David Willey now. He bowls, and he's bowled him! He's going for that flashing shot outside off stump. Cross bat, under edge, onto the stumps. And the LEDs light up, the flames shoot up here at Southampton. England have the early wicket. South Africa yet to score, 3 balls in, and they've already lost their first wicket. It's a huge one. It's Quinton de Kock.
Well, that is the one that every team wants. Quinton de Kock. And you looked at the way, you could see what he was trying to do. He was just trying to slap it through that offside, but he just took his back leg away from him a little bit, and it actually just messed up with his balance, and he ended up getting that under edge. So he was trying for the shot, but just slightly got himself into a poor position. Either way, it doesn't matter from an England perspective. It says bowled on the scorecard. And David Willey straight back into the action.
An immediate vindication for Jos Buttler deciding to bowl first. Let's not forget, it is very, very overcast, so the ball maybe just holding up, maybe swinging a little bit in the air. And it is going to be slightly challenging for the batters. It may not be a run fest here at the Aegeus Bowl today. I mean, that remains to be seen. Riley Rousseau, the new batter in, he had a terrific knock in the previous game at Cardiff. Another 90 odd for him.
96 or 55, which is quick time.
Yeah.
So it's modern day batting, isn't it? They just get on with it.
It's still so impressive. Nearly 200 strike rate, that kind of score. And he was superb. Just took the game away from England, really. Now then, still very kind of gloomy here in Southampton. Darkish skies, but we're hoping no more weather other than that. David Willey running into Riley Rousseau. Still a slip in place. He bowls, and that ball's just left Rousseau as it goes through to the keeper for no run. Rousseau just pulling his bat back inside the line of that one. David Willey's found a really, really good line here.
Yeah, you noticed he's got a fraction fuller in the last couple of deliveries. A bit quicker through the air, and then he's just getting that classic shape he gets. So he's finding his rhythm, and it's a very testing one. Good to see the slips in place as expected when the conditions are looking good for the bowlers early on.
David Willey runs in again. He bowls another excellent delivery, just takes off from that length. And again, Rousseau just dropping his hands at the last minute to get his outside edge out of the way as that ball goes through to the keeper. This is an excellent over so far from David Willey. One more and it'll be a wicket maiden. And the discipline, Ebony, is just so impressive.
Yeah, and that one it looked like he got slightly closer to the stumps there and just used a bit of round arm as well. So he's got good control of this ball at the moment. He wants to close it out strong.
He does indeed. And he comes now. He bowls slightly fuller that time. Big appeal for LBW. Everybody's gone up. The umpire is unmoved. David Willey now having a little chat with Jos Buttler. I don't think he's really interested. Yeah. Oh, they've done it. They've gone for the review. Jos Buttler making the T sign with his gloves. He wants the review. Well, it looked from my vantage point, Ebony, and I'm pretty much directly behind the stumps. It looked like it was going down.
Yeah, I thought it was, but then I'm maybe more looking from mid-off. But it felt like it was going down.
Yeah, we'll find out momentarily. We'll have a look on our big screens now. The big screens here at Southampton at the Aegeus Bowl kind of just have scoreboards on them, so we don't necessarily get to see it. We'll have a look at the replay here. Now, that ball, we're waiting for the next delivery. They're going to go for ultra edge first to make sure that we can... yeah, there's no bat involved. There's no bat involved, but that line does look like it's going down leg. We'll find out momentarily. You can sort of hear the voice of the third umpire.
If anything, it might be clipping a fraction, but then because the umpire's given it not out.
Yeah, there we go. We find out that it was much closer than we thought, but it is not out. The umpire's decision is not out. Now here in the ground, there's no way for the crowd to actually see the replay, but we've managed to see it, and it was mighty close on the DRS, but as it happens, it is not out. But that does complete a superb over from David Willey, a wicket maiden to start this deciding T20 here at the Ageas Bowl. It really is the perfect start for England. It could have been even better with that wicket, I suppose, but that's I mean, Joss Buttler would take that
every day of the week. I mean, there's no doubt that wicket of Riley Russo after him scoring 96 would have been completely game changer. However, they've set the tone, no runs on the board, the ball is talking, the conditions are perfect. Also, if there is any rain that comes into play, it will go into England's favour at the moment, being the bowling side.
Now then, Reece Topley from the pavilion end bowls, and that ball's been pushed to extra cover. Big loud call of no, as there is no run. Still yet to score. South Africa under immense pressure here from England, who've really come in hard here. David Willey with that perfect over to start things off. Now Reece Topley hitting his length immediately. He's got a slip in place, deep third, a deep backward square leg. The field is outside the circle. In comes Topley again now. He bowls, it's a bit fuller, thick inside edge, just running away towards the fine leg boundary, and it will get there. Well, it's not the most convincing way to get off the mark, but South Africa will take it. 4 runs to Hendricks, 4 runs to South Africa, 4 for 1 after 1.2 overs.
This is going to be tricky batting in the power play. Just saw that ball there from Reece Topley, not only getting the shape in the air, but also just a bit of nip off the surface, ended up hitting the inside edge of the bat from Hendricks. So it's going to be a good examination over the next few overs.
It certainly feels that way. Topley in once again, back of a length once more, going across the right-hander, who pushes the ball just in front of square in the covers, where it's fielded, and there is no run. 4 for 1 after 1.3 overs. It's a good atmosphere. What I love about Southampton is like the crowd here, very educated cricket crowd. Like they're not just here for run fests all the time. They really acknowledge, you know, the good deliveries, the constant pressure, and they enjoy good quality cricket. Topley in once again, as that ball takes a little bit of pad into the leg side. Oh, there might be a shot at the non-striker's end. Oh, a direct hit. And Riley Rousseau might have been in trouble. Or he might well have been home anyway. And it doesn't matter. It wasn't a direct hit. But the pressure continues from England. Can't get it off the square at the moment. Certainly can't find the middle of the bat.
Yeah, it's definitely true. I think it's a mixture of the overheads getting that swing. There's a bit of nip in the surface as well. I know what you mean about the crowd. I feel like that sometimes when you go to places like Taunton, they love their cricket down there. Chelmsford, got some grounds that the crowd just soak it up.
In comes Topley again. That ball's been flicked away out to deep backward square leg. And they'll take a single. Hendricks onto 5 of 5 deliveries now. South Africa onto 5 for 1. Riley Rousseau will get to face up to Topley for the first time today. From that pavilion end, it seems to swing a little bit more. I'll be curious to get Tim Hall's thoughts on that as well, because he's bowled a lot at this ground. I wonder if you get more swing coming down the slope. But it is a bowl here at the Ageas Bowl, obviously, so it's all kind of below the crowd. You sit on top of it as a crowd. It adds this kind of theatricality to the match, like watching a Shakespeare play in the round. You know, it's very dramatic. I quite like it. Now a slight change in field now. Fine legs coming up inside the circle, deep backward square leg going out. Still a deep third in place for Riley Rousseau. In comes Topley. This is short. It's been pulled high out into the leg side. Fielder's got a lot of ground to cover, and he's not going to make it. Terrific diving effort in the deep there, but ultimately the ball gets to the boundary for 4. Again, not quite timed well by Hendricks, by Rousseau, I beg your pardon, but well enough for 4. 2 overs gone, South Africa 9 for 1.
Yeah, that just felt like a shot that Rousseau doesn't want England just to dominate here in the power play and bowl dot ball after dot ball, and so he forced it a little bit. Wasn't that short, but he had to sort of plink it in front to pick up that boundary. So I think it is important they don't just sort of end up, because of the conditions, just sitting still and then ending up with a low power play score. They've got to throw the game back to England somehow.
They do indeed. good start from England though. 9 for 1 after 2 overs. That second over from Topley going for 9, but England will enjoy these encouraging signs, and David Willey will continue just adjusting his run up there. We had a lovely time in Southampton last night. Myself, producer Jamie, and Nikesh Rugani went bowling last night.
Oh, I
Bowling.
did see something on a...
By the quayside, we went bowling.
Who won?
Nikesh Rugani won both games, and Jamie and I traded second place. I don't know, he's very competitive, I have to say, very competitive. As is David Willey, who's in now. Bowls back of a leg, outside edge, no! It looked like an outside edge, but there was exaggerated movement off the surface. And Hendricks just pulled his bat back inside the line as the ball took off. And actually, it was a really good take from Joss Butler, who was slightly wrong-footed. And the ball is just moving in huge amounts here at the Ageas Bowl.
That is one of the most lethal balls I've seen in a while. You know, he's not hugely quick in terms of pace, but what he did with the angle and then getting that bounce off the surface, it really leapt up, moved away. We'll be looking for another one of those.
Yeah, I thought it might be an outside edge for a split second. As in comes David Willey again, back of a length this time. The ball keeps a little bit low, and Hendricks happy to push it to point. And there is no run. That ball's being thrown around by the England fielders. Moeen Ali there in the slips. It's pulling rank a little bit there, isn't he, the senior player Moeen Ali? I'm going in the slip. You young boys can do the running around.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Settle in for a few overs. There's not many that you can have a slip in this short format, so he's enjoying himself.
Yes, indeed. It's David Willey just running in. He bowls just a good length outside the off-stump. It's been driven to mid-off. They're running through for a quick single, and they make it. There was a shy at the non-striker's end. He was Chris Jordan over there, but doesn't connect. And they run through for a single, 10 for 1 after 2.3. Yeah, it's very unfair, Ebbs, but I always kind of expect Chris Jordan to do something spectacular in the field. Like every time he has a shy and he doesn't connect, it feels like...
Are you disappointed? You're
I'm
like,
very
oh
disappointed,
man.
yeah. Because he set this impossibly high standard in the field. Takes these stunning catches when the ball's dropping in front of him or going past. I mean, it's a remarkable athlete, but yeah, no direct hit that time. Lazy. In comes David Willey now. This is back of a length, pushed through that gap between point and extra cover. They're going to have to give chase here. And they're going to... Batters should manage to get back for 3. They do. Good bit of running there by the South African pair. Russo on to 7. Lovely little shot there. 13 for 1 of 2.4. And now this left-right combination, meaning the England fielders having to do a bit of crisscross, must be very irritating in the field, I imagine.
Yeah, and I think both teams have actually tried to maintain that left-hand, right-hand combination throughout the T20s with the batters. It really throws everybody off, having to keep changing. Bowlers have to change their angles.
They do indeed. David Willey in once again. This is full swinging delivery, thick inside edge. Runs away past fine leg. It was up inside the circle. That's going to go away to the boundary. Just in front of the Shane Warne stand for 4. The DJ's finally playing some music for the boundary. 17 for 1 after 2.5. South Africa, with a couple of streaky boundaries, have managed to keep it to a run a ball. Well,
there's been 3 boundaries so far, and 2 of them have been off the inside edge. But I think that just tells you the conditions here. The swing, bit of nip off the surface. It's still quite a relatively low score halfway through the power play at 17 for 1. So it's tricky conditions for sure.
Or indeed, Hendricks on strike. In comes David Willey, another swinging delivery, just shaping back in towards the right-hander, who pushes the ball to extra cover, and there is no run. That is the end of the 3rd over. David Willey's been superb so far. 2 overs, 1 for 8, his figures. 9 dot balls in that. And South Africa 17 for 1 after 3 overs. And hello to all of you here at the Ageas Bowl listening to us through the earpiece. Hope you're having a wonderful time. Hope it stays dry for all of you out there, and everybody listening on the radio. It's very exciting. I mean, it's been like a breakneck pace, these white ball games this summer. I mean, 12 games in 24 days. I mean, just broadcasting, I think I did 8 of them. Just broadcasting them was exhausting. I can't imagine what it's like with the players.
Yeah, I think these modern day players, deserve so much credit for so much cricket, thick and fast, and then there'll be this, and then they might have to pop back to, let's say, play the 100 for a side, and then pop back to international cricket. It puts a toll on the body as well as performance.
Now then, Topley to continue. Big swing from Russo. Doesn't connect as the ball passes the outside edge through to the keeper. And there is no run. And Topley happy to keep the ball back of a length. And he knows that Russo's going to have a swing. Mind you, no slip in place. the deep third fielder is quite wide-ish in his position. So had he got anything on that, if it just had enough to pass Joss Butler, that's running away for 4. Not too dangerous a shot. Russo now furiously pounding his bat on the crease as in comes Topley, and that ball's driven to just wide of mid-off to the left of the fielder. They run through for another single. 18 for 1 off 3.2 overs. Yeah, still overcast as we say, but no rain about. Yeah, it's been quite extraordinary, the calendar, as we were talking. I mean, 12 games, and I mean they'll get some. Theoretically, there's a break in the white ball calendar because there's no T20s or ODIs for England until, well, no ODIs for God knows how long, but certainly no T20s till September now. And that'll be that away tour to Pakistan. Topley in, back of a length, glided down to deep third. Where it's Adil Rashid fielding. He gets a very good throw back in. Just a single. Applauded by the fans just in front of us here at the hotel end. It's quite bizarre the way the calendar's going. We've already talked a lot about the 2 T20 tournaments that are happening, or 3 that are happening concurrently in January. So the one in the UAE, I think it's called the IL T20, and then obviously the Big Bash and the South African T20, all at the same time. It's I guess it's good to have options. This time the ball's been pulled high and long into the leg side. 1 bounce, 2 bounce into the advertising sponge. And that's gone for 4. That's a tremendous pull shot. Again, you get the feeling Russo didn't quite time it as well as he'd like, but he'll be happy with the end result. 4 more runs to the score. 23 for 1 off 3.4 overs.
Yeah, first real shot of intent. Like you say, it wasn't perfect. It's not the easiest of conditions, but he got his bat up high. And this time really tried to get the hands through it. Saw it early, got the length he was looking for.
He's happy with the short stuff. There's Riley Russo standing up tall in his crease. As in comes Topley. Fuller length this time. The ball's been pushed gently to mid-on. Early call of yes, and they run through for a single. 24 for 1.
Yeah, I mean, all those tournaments... Well, listen, let's be honest. I saw the article come out on the news the other day of the cash that's flying around in some of those. If you're a modern player, I'm sure you'd be calling your agent going... Get me in the game.
Yeah, or a modern commentator.
Well, did you call? You bet you called your agent, didn't you?
Making a few calls, not going to lie.
Get in there.
In comes Topley now as that ball's driven up over the infield in the covers. Again, not quite timed. 3 men in, 2 men in pursuit now. That ball going to trickle away into the boundary sponge. It is. Really crawled its way to that boundary sponge in front of the Shane Warne stand, but it did get there in the end. South Africa looking to break the shackles here. Riley Russo with 2 boundaries to finish the 4th over. 28 for 1 after 4 overs. South Africa starting to just understand this pitch here a little bit.
Yeah, and that one, he got the length there from Topley, which just kind of sat up a little bit and saw it early enough to just hit it up over the top. I think the slightly fuller ball at the moment, which is on a length and nipping around, it's a bit tricky, but if you get a bit shorter, there's enough time to try and manoeuvre the ball. You're feeling these tunes, aren't you?
I'm really enjoying the music here at the Ageas Bowl. It's been great fun. There's always a great atmosphere here as well, even during the 100, as you mentioned, in the Southern Brave. Defending champions, the men's team, of course, this year.
Are you a London Spirit?
I'm afraid so. I've got a rule about local teams.
North-South divide we are.
It's Middlesex, the Sunrisers, the London Spirit. Those are my teams. I'm stuck with them.
You stay on that side of the river.
Now then, David Willey's going to bowl a 3rd over here in the power play. He's just having a little chat with the mid-off before he comes in, just keeping Riley Russo waiting. 28 for 1. In comes Willey, big swing across the line. No contact that time as the ball just kept a tiny bit low. He was looking to pull that over mid-wicket. Makes no connection as Riley Russo. 28 for 1 of 4.1 overs.
Yeah, you can just sense he wants to make the most of these last couple of overs here. Didn't really get his feet into a position, more swiveled on it. Didn't quite pick up the length, but he's looking to go big over that leg side. It's just one fielder kind of dead square in front.
David Willey in now. That ball's been smashed, but straight to extra cover. They're going to run through for a quick single. That ball went really, really hard at the extra cover fielder, and the bowler immediately goes over to check on him.
It's Derwin Milan, isn't it? That was hit. That's one of the hardest balls I've seen hit in a while, and when you've got these wickets when you're on the square, it's just kind of hit in and then skidded off straight into, I think he's got his shoulder. Yeah, the side of his shoulder.
He just ringed his arm, didn't he, a couple of times, but he didn't show too much there. He's a hard man, is David Milan, also a former Middlesex man.
Just picking up your players everywhere, are you?
David Willey in again, back of length push, just wide of the fielder at point in front of square. As that where that ball's picked up, the throw comes in. And the score moves on to 30-1.
That's one of those ones that you're going to have those nasty bruises, like you most probably go down the sort of upper arm.
Yeah, it's.
He'll look firm on, he's a professional sportsman. There's no doubt later on that will just be.
Well, I was watching the Commonwealth Games match between Pakistan and Barbados, and there was a ball that Nida Dar, where she took a ball flush in the helmet, flush in the side, and didn't even flinch.
Hardcore.
Didn't even flinch. David Willey in again. That ball's been worked just wide of the fielder at mid-on, and they'll run through for a single.
You see Alice Capsey yesterday?
Yes, of course.
She got a ball to the face, so her whole face was swollen with bruising.
Yeah.
She still went out there and scored some runs.
There's a little bit of rain trickling in. Hopefully it'll just stay at that level and not get harder. It's just that little thin, tiny rain. It's not that big, fat, chubby rain just yet. We'll wait for that to kick in. Hopefully that won't kick in. It'll just blow over the ground. But for now, just little drops. Don't see too many umbrellas going up. So we should be okay. David Willey to continue. And he comes. This is short. The ball's gone and up in the air just over the fielder, who's at third inside the circle. Is going to run away to the deep third boundary in front of the pavilion for 4 more. I feel slightly hard done by there, David Willey. It was a good ball, but just luck just favouring the South Africans at the moment. 35-1 after 4.5 overs.
Yeah, that top edge, he was trying to pull it in front. He just sort of ended up getting a bit of luck and it flying enough over. I'm just saying, this rain doesn't look ideal.
No, I can see a lot of people in front of the hotel and just pulling their sweaters and their hoodies and there's a few umbrellas as well. Oh dear. And the umpires are having a chat. The South African batters don't look keen to stay out there. The umpires are meeting in the middle for a little conversation. And we'll find out momentarily.
Oh, I think he got hit himself in the helmet, did he?
I think in that previous one of the previous balls, the ball hit the batter on the helmet, so they have to have the mandatory concussion check. But that's coincided with the rain getting a little bit heavier, and the umpires have taken the zing bells off, and everybody's going to have to walk off temporarily. It's not really what you want to see. I do quite enjoy the colourful umbrellas that we get here at the Ageas Bowl. It does make for quite the picture from our vantage point here at the hotel end, but sadly it means that there's going to be a break in play. How long for? Hopefully not too long. We do see bright skies across the right hand side of the ground. Need this gloominess over the ground to just pull over. 35-1 is the score after 4.5 overs. As that break in play, I can see a lot of the stewards pulling their waterproofs on. It is one of those days. It feels like there's going to be a bit of this about, bit of rain going up.
Well, one thing I would say, during the cricket season, I always feel like I've become a weather expert. But it looks clearer to our right, which I feel like it's drifting across us, which would mean that it's the good weather's coming, basically. I feel like the rain's gone.
Yeah, the forecast now is suggesting that this isn't here for too long. So this should be a temporary thing. Now, the hover cover is being pulled on, but they're not pulling it on with great speed, which tells you that the ground staff have a feeling that that's going to be coming off very quickly.
Yeah.
They might even have to just turn right back around before they even set it. So let's see. As we speak, it feels a lot less lighter. The drizzle, it's already gone a little bit lighter. The forecast suggests that it shouldn't be too much of a break. Hopefully no overs will be lost. This will just be a momentary blip, a chance for everybody at the Ageas Bowl maybe to go get themselves a drink or an ice cream or some chips. Some chips, yeah. Chips at the cricket, right?
Chips at cricket, yes. I had a fish and chips the other day. It was good.
Was it good?
It was proper.
Was it proper?
It was proper.
There we go.
After Durham. It was proper.
The proper fish and chips
proper
of Durham.
Fish and chips.
There's so many people doing that hunt now. People go down to Durham, up to Durham specifically to look for the proper fish and chips.
I heard one of my friends, Alexis Nunes, who's does a lot of football and stuff. She was on the car listening to us as she went up, And she said she had a friend who's not into cricket, but they fully invested in the proper fish and chips conversation.
There we go.
So
we'll get him anywhere we can.
Bring him into the game.
See, we lure you in with a fish and chip chat, and before you know it, you're dissecting LBW decisions and curious about DRS decisions as well. Well, the score is 35-1 while we have this delay. Let's have a little talk through that opening 5 overs. I mean, England won the toss, elected to field, and it started really well. It was the wicket maiden that kicked things off from David Willey, and it would have been really, really pleased at that point. But South Africa kind of pulled together a nice little counter-attack here.
Yeah, well, I'll say first things first, it was good for Jos Buttler to win another toss. He struggled throughout this tournament just to win the toss, and it allowed him to make, I think, the right decision. He knew some weather was around. He knew there was a bit in the surface.
Oh, there's good news, by the way. Sorry to interrupt, Jebs, but the cover, as I suspected, is immediately being pulled away. The umbrellas are coming down. The waterproofs are going away. This is exciting. We're going to have action very, very soon. But yes, sorry, Abs, as you were saying, Jos Buttler would have been really pleased. How do you think he's feeling now at 35-1?
Yeah, so I was going to say, I think he'll be really pleased that his side have, came out with the ball early on. I think they've kept things tight. If you look at some of the boundaries, actually, I'll say half of the boundaries out of the 6 that South Africa scored have been streaky. They've been lucky. There has been a good recovery, though, and you can see the intent's calm, even with that last 4, which was a top edge. The intent is there to score. And so if they end up, if that last over getting somewhere towards 50 off the power play, you then say it's back to balance. South Africa have fought back after that first loss of a wicket. So I feel like this last over is going to be absolutely vital. Just for England to keep them, they keep them to 45, you'll say, then they're ahead of the game.
Yeah, well, we'll find out momentarily. Now, none of the England players actually went into the pavilion itself. They were all just hanging around by the dugout, which again tells you it couldn't have been too heavy. The rain, hopefully not too much effect on the outfield. Doesn't look too puddly anywhere. That hover cover's been pulled all the way off towards the left-hand side of the ground, towards the golf course even. It's not gone towards the Gulf, I promise you that. That's a long way to go, but we should have action pretty soon. The stumps are back in as well. The England players, in fact, are walking out right now, so I imagine we'll have action again momentarily with the score at 35-1. Reza Hendricks 20 off 14, Riley Rousseau 15 off 12, both with sort of healthy-ish strike rates already. But we know about, and Hendricks was going really well in the previous game too. It was he'll feel aggrieved by getting out, just as he was finding his rhythm, and he could have gone on for a big score. I mean, the team did win in the end. But between Hendricks and Rousseau, you now have the 2 in-form, big-hitting South African batters, and they've all faced a few balls out there.
Don't forget, they're going to want to set it up for old young Tristan Stubbs as well to come out. And this is the thing, isn't it? If they end up weathering the early bit of weather, they get past a swinging ball, then get a decent platform in a power play. Actually, they're back into the game, and they've got players, Miller, Stubbs, etc., who can come in and really press the screw later on. So there's a lot of work here still for England to be done. I feel like they started well with the ball. They made the most of the conditions, but South Africa just trying to get back into this game, and they got to just put a stop to it.
They are indeed. It's much, much brighter here in Southampton now. It feels like that gloom is moving across the ground, and it looks from where I'm standing, clear skies ahead. I'm gonna put it out there. I think it's going to be clear skies. I think we're good now for the rest of the day. You can put those umbrellas away, put them on some auction website online. You don't need them anymore. You're fine. You're fine. Yeah, indeed. Now, just very quickly, while the batter's remarking his guard, now you brought up Tristan Stubbs. I mean, this boy was a revelation in that first T20 in Bristol. Just remarkable hitting. As David Willey to complete the 5th over. As that ball strikes the pad just outside the line, there's a stifled appeal. They run through for a leg by it. That is 5 overs completed in the South African innings, 36-1 after 5. Ebbs, Tristan Stubbs, how impressive was he in Bristol? How big were those sixes? Talk us through a little bit about the impression he's made, and then you're going to be joined for the very first time today by the very delightful Daniel Norcross.
I think it's the most exciting innings I've seen all summer, and it's partly because sometimes when someone comes, it's one thing if it's Quinton de Kock, what they've done. They've been there on the circuit, and they've played those amazing innings that you expect to see. It's when you get a young player that you've never heard of, never really seen. You've had a bit of a bubble, and then they come out and just stamp their authority.
You gave him the big sell.
Oh man, I was
last game.
Yeah, I told you straight away. I was like, Dan.
Yeah.
But you didn't do.
No, we got 15 off 12, really turgidly.
Yeah. Don't worry. Hopefully you'll get some impact today.
I'm looking forward to seeing him in full flow. 36-1. As Atif said, the rain has passed. As Atif didn't say, The weather app says periods of rain for the next 56 minutes. It's very precise. But hopefully it'll pass us by. We're in this little bowl here, slightly sheltered by trees. Right, start of a new over. Chris Jordan's going to bowl it, and his first ball swept to short fine leg. They come through for a single and low before my very eyes. We've got a replay screen.
Yeah.
37 for 1.
Well, we had a scoreboard a moment ago. Now that's not gone. Do you know what did shock my eyes just now? I was wondering what was different about you when you sat down. You've got a one-tone shirt.
Yeah.
I think this is the first time in knowing you for maybe like 6 or 7 years that you've...
I know, it was a tricky one. It was a tricky choice today.
You normally go for the
I've gone for the bright trouser.
Yeah, bright. What do you call that blue?
It's not powder blue.
Powder blue,
Powder blue, yeah, possibly.
I like the shirt, but it's just one tone.
It's just one tone, yeah, I know. It's a sort of purple. Would we say purple?
Yeah.
Purple.
Lilac.
A bit darker than lilac, would you say? A bit darker. And it's competing with the powder blue. And I even chose my own socks today, and I got a thumbs up, which is very rare. I'll tell you after this ball. I'll tell you about yesterday, where every single item of clothing I put on, I had to take off. As Jordan is in around the wicket, that's dabbed to the offside, down through to the boundary for 4. It was just guided past backward point, and well, really a sort of deep slip is where Adil Rashid is, not really even a short third, and that is expertly put away by Rousseau. Just waited for it, let the ball glide off the bat along the ground down to the boundary for 4.
We saw him play a few of these shots in the last game. He's very good at just opening that face, and especially when the two deep fielders are on the leg side quite square and behind wicket, he knows that anything that races away on the offside, he's in.
He moves to 19 from 13, 41 for 1. So last over of the power play. The sun is trying to gleam through the clouds. And Rousseau tries to dab again. This time it's a thick inside edge. He's going to get 4 again, but far less convincingly, as it went fine to the left of Jason Roy on the fine leg boundary. He was trying to replay the shot, I think, and it's come back into him a little bit more. It's hit the inside edge, and it was really close to hitting the leg stump, I would think. Just going to take a little look at this in the replay. Yes, that's not far away at all. I mean, had that ball crashed onto his stumps, it would have been a very horrible limp dismissal. As it was, it's another one of these boundaries, as you've been talking about, Ebony, that they've been getting from quite false shots. Quite a few have gone in that direction now. 45 for 1. Halfway through the 6th over. Jordan in. It's flashed away into the offside, but fielded at cover point. There is no run. So yesterday, I was going to a house party. A lovely man's
Thanks for the invite, but carry on.
Well, I'm sorry about that. Yeah. It wasn't my house.
Oh, okay, fair enough. All right.
It's a house of actually a man who's written a very good book on cricket called Steve Kinane. And I was going with my wife and with Jeremy Coney, who was staying with me. And I attempted to dress myself. You know, I'm 53. I thought I'd give it a go.
Yeah.
Jordan in, and it's driven through extra cover. That'll run away for 4. Didn't sound great off the bat, but it was very full. It was a long, almost Yorker, but I think was in fact a half volley. And Rousseau was able to get onto that and find the gap between extra cover and mid-off, and it ran away to the boundary for 4. 49 for 1.
Yeah, one thing he did really well there is just open up the face late into the shot. He knew there was a bit of a gap to the right hand of the cover. He just got those bottom hands into the shot. That bottom hand.
that there bottom hand. Yeah. So I put the trousers on, and I put a shirt on, and I put a pair of socks on. Jordan in, flashed away for 4 more. That's a better shot. It was gloriously struck between cover point and extra cover on this occasion. Again, too much width, and 4 boundaries have come off that Chris Jordan over, the last of the power play. But he reigned for Brent, said if England can keep them to 45 after that excellent start, dismissing Quinton de Kock for a duck in the first over, they'll be pleased. But South Africa got away there with those 4 boundaries. They're 53 for 1 at the end of the power play.
Yeah, they're not going to be happy at all with the way that finished. After all the hard work at the top, where they almost picked up 2 wickets, South Africa took a long time to come off, a lot of full shots. They would have wanted to contain their 1 boundary and maybe a couple of singles, and in the end it's gone the other way. Well done to South Africa, though. I feel that they've now actually levelled the game. I feel like it's in the balance. I don't feel like any team is ahead or behind. It's just set up nicely for a good game.
It's a good enough pitch, isn't it? I mean, there's It often is here at the AGS Bowl. It's a pretty high scoring ground. Moeen Ali's going to come into the attack. So I put on a pair of
I was
black
going to say, we've only got one over before I'm off. I need to hear this.
black linen trousers.
So you dress yourself?
Yeah, black linen trousers, pink galah shirt, one that David Gower was wearing during the Ashes series. As Moeen is in, back into his crease goes Hendricks and punches off the back foot out to deep extra cover for a single, 54 for one. It's sort of pink and garish, and it's got a crude representation of the Australian bird, the galah, and a pair of shoes and socks. And she looked at the trousers and said, "No, those trousers are awful. You've got to go. They're too messy."
So when black trousers? Or?
Just black. They were just black linen trousers. But I mean, in fairness, they sort of had toothpaste on them. They were real comfortable,
Okay.
But I both thought, he's a friend. We can go to someone's house. It doesn't matter, does it? Then the shirt. So I came back in different trousers. Yeah, that's all right. Shirt. Ugh, it's terribly crumpled. You've got to iron it. Down the leg side, and that's flicked off. Butler has it. Wait to see the umpire's signal. Yes, it was a wide. Has been signalled. So that's just gone down the leg side. Clipped off Butler and rolled to short fine leg, and there's no run other than the wide. So then I had to iron the shirt, and they said no, that's the wrong sock. So I had to take the socks off. So then I came back in. I'm incensed now with 3 pairs of socks. Oh, but it's bowling!
Wow.
What a wonderful piece of bowling that is from Moeen Ali, delivered from around the wicket. A tentative push forward from Rousseau, who's not been tentative really at all today, but on this occasion he was. There's a little bit of flight, a little bit of drift, and it's turned past the outside edge, clattered into the stumps, and England have got the breakthrough they so desperately needed after that flurry of runs.
Do you feel that's a dream wicket in this sort of format of the game? The off spinner coming around to the left-hander. He's fired it in actually pretty quickly, 57 miles an hour. Really perfect seam because it just gripped and pulled away to that off stump. But you don't often get to see any sort of craft in this T20 game. Often it's fired in. There was a nice bit of shaping, grab the surface, goes away, and also how big this moment is getting Riley Russo, who was starting to look set. I love that. That was a good wicket.
Yeah, it was a lovely wicket, wasn't it? I want to see the replay from front on. We've seen it slightly at an angle, so you can see Russo being drawn into the shot. I'd love to see just how much that turned, because he's come forward to it anticipating the ball coming straight on, really. But it's gripped and ripped, which will also give heart to Keshav Maharaj and Tabrez Shamsi, because there's clearly a little bit in the wicket. I mean, that was Moeen Ali's second ball. Third, really, but bowled wide as well. But
South Africa, number 4, Eden Markram.
So Eden Markram comes to the wicket. At 55 for 2. South Africa got a good platform, but England will be delighted to get rid of Rousseau. He was the star of the show the other day when he hit 96. Unbeaten.
55, yeah. Well, Markram is back in the side today. A nice chance for him to impress.
Well, he might get an over or 2 of spin on here as well, might he? It's an off spinner. So Moeen is in to Markram, who flicks this ball, his first delivery along the ground up to long on for a single. We've got a long on, a long off, deep mid wicket. Deep backward square leg and a deep extra cover.
I've got 3 balls to find out.
It ended up with me basically wearing exactly what I was told to wear, and I should just have. I don't know why I tried in the first place. Moeen in, back into his crease goes Hendricks and punches off the back foot, fielded by Milan at short extra cover. But apparently the yellow socks were a terrible idea. A truly, truly terrible idea. As Moeen is in, that's worked into the onside, out towards deep backward square leg for a single. 57 for 2. 1 ball remains in the 7th over. If you want to see just how much that ball did turn and spit and bounce, then go on to the BBC website. And that we've got in-play clips today and highlights at 11:20 on BBC 2. Moeen Ali in, down the wicket. As that's flicked back to Moeen, who then shies at the stumps, but Markram turns tail and flees and gets his bat back into his crease and survives. A splendid over from Moeen Ali comes to an end. 4 runs from it. That big wicket of Riley Rousseau. And South Africa, their advance has been halted. They're 57 for 2 as Ebony Rainford Brent departs. So yes, we have highlights today. We have in-play clips. We have text commentary as well. In what is a frantic time for cricket at the moment. There's an awful lot of it on. We've had the Commonwealth Games match this morning between India and Pakistan. India strolling to victory against their traditional rivals by 8 wickets in the end. Now we are just seeing the replay here of that wicket. And Tamar Mills, that was a beauty, wasn't it?
Yeah, lovely delivery. Good afternoon, everybody.
Adil Rashid's going to come in for the attack from the Rod Bransgrove Pavilion end. His first ball is clattered through the covers out towards deep extra cover. Fielders running round. Jason Roy cuts it off about 2 or 3 yards in front of the boundary. Sits at 59 for 2. Now, Adil Rashid the other day was guilty of just dropping a little bit short. Didn't quite have his rhythm, didn't quite get it full enough, it seemed to me. Let's see how he gets on today. He's in, right arm over the wicket, back into his crease goes Hendricks and pushes into the onside, out towards wide, long, on. They're going to get a couple of runs. So it was really more through sort of mid-wicket, I guess.
Yeah, Rash, look, he's obviously not played a full summer of cricket, has he? He has had his went on pilgrimage, which has been well documented. So yeah, obviously when you miss kind of a month of 3-4 weeks of cricket, it maybe just takes you a game or two to get back into the swing of things.
And here he comes again. That's short again, and it's pushed out towards a wide long off on this occasion. Just a single. 2-2-1 off this over so far. Hendricks to 28 from 22. Markram has 1, 62 for 2. Halfway through the 8th over as the clouds roll in. A rather dark, steamy looking cloud. It is steamy today. You've been out there in it?
Yes, it's not too bad. As you say, the weather does come from kind of top right hand corner from where we're
short, punched off the back foot out towards deep point for a single by Markram. 63 for 2. Yes, well, it said that I think there's rain in the air for about the next now 45 minutes or so, but that doesn't mean it'll rain for the full 45 minutes. It's definitely a sort of
or rain here specifically.
Or rain here, exactly. Adil Rashid in again, and that's cut away off a thick outside edge, but it doesn't get past Moeen Ali at short third, and there's no run. 63 for 2 the score remains. And look, cricket at the AGS Bowl is a great thing. Having been here during the COVID year, it was so unfortunate. Whenever it was raining here, there was cricket on, but it wasn't raining in Old Trafford and vice versa. Or bad light, got terrible bad light here as this ball is, well, heaved, slogged, but without timing along the ground, very straight back past the bowler towards a very straight long on. End of the over, 64 for 2. South Africa going on at exactly 8 and over. Hendricks 29, Markram has 2, 7 off that over from Rashid. So I mean, it was really, that was gloomy, and because you can get this sepulchral gloom at the AGS Bowl, can't you?
Yeah, obviously we're surrounded by a kind of what once was a forest is now a golf course on one side, but you still have the trees to above the opposite stand to where we're sat. And yeah, look, it's like anywhere in the country. It's England, isn't it? The weather's never going to be perfect. We've had a pretty good summer of it so far, and yeah, I'm like, enough talk of the weather. I think we're going to get a full game in here. I'm confident of that.
You've played here plentifully.
Yes.
What do you tend to expect from the pitch?
It's strange because normally it doesn't do a tremendous amount. It's pretty dull. You just say it's a decent wicket. Obviously we have very big boundaries here at the AGS Bowl, probably the biggest in the country, so it's never traditionally your thriller of a T20 pitch. You know, it isn't your Bristol, Cardiff, Chelmsford, high scores like that more often than not, but it's actually done a bit with the ball this year. The T20 we played against India here 3-4 weeks ago, our analyst told us it was the most the ball has ever swung in a T20 international.
Right? Sam Curran into the attack, his first over, and his first ball is pulled without timing out towards deep mid-wicket. There isn't a deep mid-wicket, but there is a deep square leg. Liam Livingston, who runs to his left to field. They pick up a couple of runs.
Yeah, were you here for that game? Did you
I wasn't here for that game.
Yeah, so we bowled first, and
Hooping,
I can't remember, not when we bowled it. So we bowled first, and then we came out to chase, and yeah, Bhuveshwar Kumar and Arshdeep Singh hooped the ball around corners both ways. It was, in some ways, it was great to watch. As a bowler, as a fast bowler, obviously I would rather it wasn't against the side I was playing in.
Sam Curran in around the wicket, short again, clattered out towards deep square leg where Livingston waits, and there is just the one run. Deep mid wicket has been put in now, so deep square, deep mid wicket, long on, deep extra cover, and a fine leg. So 4 fielders on the boundary on the onside, which sort of means Sam Curran's just going to bang it in short and allow a single each time, pretty much.
It's often what you see here at the AGS Bowl with the dimensions, the big square boundaries. You have to use them. It is a big hit to hit a 6 either side of the wicket. Slightly shorter straight, but still a good hit.
Curran is in to Markram, and Markram just gets turned around slightly about that. Bit of a leading edge, and the ball squirts out through extra cover. And they'll pick up a single with David Willey doing the fielding and firing the ball back in. 68 for 2. Markram to 3 from 4. Hendricks 32 from 26. Also, the balls this year, it's so weird that watching the red ball, they've had a very distinctive flavour, which is not a nice flavour actually after 30 overs. It's rather rancid.
It's nice if you're a batter.
Great if you're a batter, yeah, but not a lot happens. Curran in, that's short. There's a sort of tennis shot almost, an attempt to cut the ball, but he gets up on his toes, Hendricks, and all he can do is parry it really to backward point. There's no run. But by contrast, the white Kookaburra,
It's done a bit more.
it swung a bit more, hasn't it?
Yeah,
it
we
seems to
found-
swing for longer.
Must be the way the Kookaburra are producing the balls. Over in the IPL this year, the ball, especially at the start of the tournament when the wickets were left with a bit of live grass on them, they certainly did swing at the first few overs. We saw a definite swing today here for Reece Topley and David Willey. As I said, the most swing ever in the T20 game here a few weeks ago. So it's good, something for the bowlers, I guess.
Curran is short, fast bouncer, flies through, but it's been given as a wide. Well, at first glance, looking at Hendricks shoot his head backwards, it seemed to suggest the ball was quite close to that head.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll see a replay in a minute. You'd like to think, is it Martin Saggers at square leg? He's a former bowler himself, or is it
Actually,
David
no,
Milnes?
that's fair. That's absolutely fair. Just see the side-on view, and it was above the head. 69 for 2. Score advances too as Curran is in, down the wicket,
Shot.
smashed out towards deep mid-wicket, on the bounce. Hendricks will pick up another single, but that's Curran very much bowling to this field he has here, which is 4 men on the boundary on the leg side, no one saving one. All 4 men that are in the ring are forming a crescent really from short third round to mid-off.
In the blast, that short ball over head high would be a no ball.
Yes, can you
Don't
explain that?
Don't get
to
me started. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Some of the rules in the blast this year actually, they're pretty put. They're not a free hit, but it's a no ball, so it's an extra run. A no ball is worth 2 in the blast, where it's only worth 1 in every other league in the world.
Fine legs come up, and another short ball, slightly slower short ball, is pulled without timing out into this massive space on the onside. Roy runs in from the boundary to field. They get back for 2. 72 for 2 at the end of the 9th over. 8 runs off that over. The rate is exactly 8 and over. Hendricks 33, Markram 5. Well, what's the reasoning behind the no ball, not the wide?
Who knows? I genuinely have no
why
idea.
call it that?
It's a no ball, and it's also worth more in the blast than it is in no ball in international cricket. Is 1 run, a no ball in the blast is 2. The champion,
Yeah, 2 for a no ball.
You know, these the no ball rule for full tosses as well, or intent or bumper. If you say you bowl a bumper,
Right.
that's overhead high, so no ball.
Yeah, no, don't understand that.
If you bowl another one, that's then a free hit. Because you bowled
that's
2.
then that's a free. I see. Okay, it's quite tricky to keep control of it all, isn't it? Adil Rashid starts a new over and bowls one that slides on with the arm and is punched off the back foot out into the covers to the left of Sam Curran, so they can get through for a single. 73 for 2 brings Markram back onto strike.
The one that gets me though is the beamer rule.
Oh right.
So again, I'll continue my gripe after.
Yeah,
after
please
this.
do. I like the gripe of a fast bowler. Full and just dabbed up to driven in a way without timing up to long on for a single. Jordan does the fielding, throws back underarm. 74 for 2.
So in to my knowledge, in every other league, I've played in every league, I think, apart from the CPL, but in every other league around the world.
Rashid's in, right arm over the wicket, short, and that's punched, cut off the back foot out towards deep extra cover. Just the 1 run, 75 for 2.
A full toss over waist high is a free hit.
Yeah.
Same in England, no problem with that. But in every other league, the umpire has discretion as to whether it's dangerous or not.
Oh, I see.
So if it's at the batter, it's obviously dangerous.
Rashid in. Again, played off the back foot this time with a vertical bat. Square of the wicket. It's going to be stopped by Dawud Malan. Well, eventually it isn't stopped by Dawud Malan. They get through for another couple of runs. He slid slightly on this greasy outfield as we see ground staff getting close to a cover. There are 2 more balls for me to commentate before Atif Nawaz has to come on and do the rain break chat. So come on, Adil. Yeah.
It's pretty bright though for where the clouds are coming.
Here comes Rashid. That's cut again off the back foot. That's going out towards deep extra cover. They'll come back for a second. It's huge ground here. A lot more 2s than normal. 79 for 2. So they decide whether it's dangerous or not.
So basically, if it's wide of the batter, it's deemed not dangerous. Normally, if it's a slower ball as well, you bowl a back of the hand slower ball that happens, you get it a bit wrong.
Slips out.
Like, it's okay. The umpire gives the free hit, but the bowler doesn't get a warning.
Right.
Whereas in the blast,
Rashid is in. Played off the back foot, worked out towards deep mid-wicket. They might get another couple here. He's played it so softly. No, it'll just be the single. So 7 off that over, 80 for 2. Hendricks 35. Markram has 11. More thoughts from Tim Mills. Oh, no. I can't. They've brought on the covers. Right. I was standing up. I was ready to hand over. I was doing the full Simon Man there. I almost had one hand on the headset. Oh, well, never mind. So, yes, we've got a break in play because it's now raining again. It won't rain for long, I don't think. There's a nasty grey cloud above us and to our right, as it has been all day, really. There's a much lighter cloud and there's some little smatterings of blue sky. So, South Africa at the halfway stage, 80 for 2, going on at exactly 8 and over. As they've maintained that rate for a little while now. Hendricks 35 from 30, Markram 11 from 9. The men to go, Quinton de Kock bowled off an inside edge off David Willey in the very first over of the match, and then Aidan Markram bowled by a beauty from Moeen Ali, the left-hander propping forward, didn't quite get to the pitch of the ball. It turned, it bounced, it spat, it flicked the top of the off stump. It was really the perfect piece of off spin to the left-hander that you could wish to see. The hover cover is being rolled on, but it's getting lighter as we speak. The floodlights are on, yes, but what rain that I could see through yonder window has very much reduced. I think Hart's better get ready. He's going to be back on any minute now. So let us continue with your gripe. Tim Mills, you've got the floor. You're a fast bowler full of furious rage.
It's not really relevant because nothing's really happened in this game to trigger me, has it? Aside from one bouncer.
Apart from the bouncer called a wide. Yeah.
But essentially, I fell foul of this year. That's why I guess it hurts me more than most. And Leicestershire fell very foul of it because to continue what I was saying earlier, if you bowl so in my case, I bowled 2 back of the hand slower balls that both came out above waist height.
Right, they just sort of slipped basically. Yeah,
they were slow, clearly slower balls. One of them was very wide, and the other one was remotely near the batter. But in the blast, it's just a flat free hit and a warning for the
regardless
bowler.
of where it is and the
so no umpire's discretion. So the umpire can't say no, it wasn't dangerous, it wasn't intentional. There's no warning here, which to me makes that makes sense. That's what happens in other leagues. But no, you get you get your first warning, and then once it happens again, you're off. So luckily for me, mine happened. My second beamer was my 5th ball of my 3rd over, so it was 1 ball left for somebody else to bowl. But obviously, if that happens early in your spell, you're gone, and it can affect the team. And not only that, is then after the game you get demerit points, both as a player and a team.
Do you?
Yeah. So after the game, I get called into the umpire's office.
Yeah.
And I have to sign a form. I get a slap on the wrist, and I get 3 points on my record.
But surely the 3rd umpire, whoever, recognises that this is ridiculous.
Yeah, they do.
And says, Tim, we've just this is just a formality.
That's pretty much how it went. But you still get your 3 points, which I kind of am okay with because I was the one that delivered the ball.
Yeah,
I've got points to spare.
But they really count. But they really count, though, don't you?
For players, less so. For the team,
right,
a lot. So the team also get demerit points.
Oh, I see.
For my beamers.
That's right. So they're down 3 because of you,
or 2, or whatever it is. Yeah, so level 1, it's worth 2 points, 3 points. But so obviously that then Leicestershire in their last group game, Naveen or Hack bowled 2 beamers, and that cost them qualification. As well as Aaron Lilly, he gave a massive send-off to somebody, so they ended up getting 5 points for that game.
Oh, I see. And that would have been the penultimate game before they then played Yorkshire.
And then that then triggered because as a squad, you're only allowed 12 points within 2 years, and if you get a points deduction.
But that's preposterous, isn't it?
It's crazy.
To demerit points for bowling
accidental beamer. If it's an intentional beamer, which is pretty obvious, but especially if they're slower balls and or you're bowling at the death, you're trying to bowl a Yorker and you get it wrong.
And umpires tend to be people, or almost exclusively people who played first class cricket, so they know
exactly. But so that big bee in my bonnet with that, and so as I said, I don't mind these disciplinary points coming on my record because I don't have a copybook full of. It's like my driving license. I've got points to play with. But as a club, the club have to have 20 players worth of points to hopefully.
Does it work like that in any other league? Then is that?
I don't know about I don't think so. And obviously that also, again, if you want to go into it even further, that's across formats as well. So Sussex, for example, have, I don't want to get the numbers wrong, X amount of disciplinary points for the season, but like across the championship, the Blast and the 50 over, and then whichever. So Leicestershire, for example, got a points deduction, didn't they?
Yes.
Because they went over their points allowance in a Blast game. If they went over it in a championship game, they would have lost points from the championship. If they went over it, if the final offence was during a 50 over game, they would have lost it from the 50 over tally. Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
It's quite confusing.
I mean, it is. It's so it's competition related. So
yeah, but it's also taking into account, you might have got 4 points from a championship game 2 weeks ago,
right?
But then you've got the final points that took you over the limit in a Blast game,
right?
So it's the Blast team that you get the 2 points taken away from.
It's pretty difficult for you to keep track of all this, isn't it?
I didn't really know about it until it happened to me this year, and I kind of just bowled the balls and because they were slower balls and they were wide. I kind of just, as I said, from playing in other leagues around the world, I didn't expect to get taken out of the attack. And then I got taken out of the attack, and then after the game I got called into the umpire's office to sign my bit of paper saying I've got 3 discipline points.
This is surely counterproductive, because it's going to it's not going to encourage players to bowl.
It just makes things more difficult than what
know.
it needs to be. Yeah, but anyway, I've maybe gone on about it a bit too much.
Well, no, you've
and we've got time to kill.
Time to kill because it's raining. So I should give you an update on the rain, and it's pretty good news. It's as bright as it's been really at any time today. That we've got to the point where the rather ugly cloud has moved away to the left. I can't see it really raining. There are umbrellas up. There are essentially traitors to cricket all over this ground, and if any of you are listening and you've got your umbrella up, you know what you've got to do. You've got to take these umbrellas down. I see. Thank you very much, madam. Away to our right, I've just seen a grey umbrella go down, and there's a lady in a blue top down there. Is she listening? She's looking up towards us. Take your umbrella down. It's slightly dotted, black and white one, because all these umbrellas do is they encourage umpires not to allow cricket to happen.
I don't think they need much encouragement. As you can tell, umpires aren't my favourite people in the world.
Don't say that. You need them. You need them to get decisions.
They don't have an earpiece in. I'm sure David Milnes isn't listening to TMS right now.
Well, he'll go back. They do this sort of thing. The umpires have got no umbrellas. They're looking absolutely fine, and it is actually as bright as it's been at any point today. Just a recap: South Africa 80 for 2 after being put into bat by England. They've lost the 2 wickets, Quinton de Kock and Riley Rousseau, 2 hard-hitting left-handers, one dragging the ball back on in the first over, the other bowled by a peach of a delivery from Moeen Ali. His second ball, I think it was, of his very brief spell. He's only bowled the 1 over. Since then, Hendricks and Markram, the 2 right-handers, have ticked things along at around about 8 and over. Hendricks has 35 from 30. Markram 11 from 9. It's been quite awkward to bat, actually, for these first 10 overs. We've seen a lot of streaky force, quite a lot of inside edges. We've seen the ball swing a lot, which is a very positive aspect of this season in white ball cricket. And what we haven't seen, though, is we haven't seen England's batting, apart from in the Netherlands, really fire, Timal. And I'm not sure that today the conditions are necessarily going to be the perfect ones for their style of cricket, but the pitch itself I think is all right.
Yeah, it's hard to say. As you say, I think South Africa will be pretty pleased with where they are after 10 overs. There's been some very good bowling. David Willey in particular, coming back into the side, has done really well. Got some swing and some seam. Reece Topley bowled a couple of good overs at the start as well before getting a few boundaries hit off against him, and there's a little bit of turn for Moeen Ali as well. So I think to be 80 for 2 after 10 overs, I think South Africa will be pretty pleased, especially when you're coming on and off a little bit, as we have been. Hopefully they'll be back on again soon. But the thing about, you say England's batting hasn't been brilliant. It's probably been more so hasn't been what we've become used to.
Yes.
We've been very spoiled, obviously, with the way that the boys have batted for the last 3, 4, 5 years, really, haven't we? And the way sport, no matter, not just cricket, the way professional sport works is you're going to have times when you have little dips and you're not going to score 400 in a 50 over game every game. You're not going to go out there and score 180, 200 every game in the T20.
They're up against some pretty good bowling attacks, aren't they? I mean, that Indian attack.
Exactly.
The conditions have been a little bit favourable for bowlers. Now then, I bring you terrific news. The hover cover is making its way off, and the the 2 tractors are dragging the rope round the outfield to disperse what moisture has got on that outfield. There'll be very little. It was a very short, not even very sharp, it was slightly stronger mizzle, really.
Yeah, it wasn't bad, was it?
So Atif Nawaz is going to come back in a moment. But Timal, you're not in the squad at the moment. You've got a little bit of an injury problem.
Frustration.
It is a frustration, but there's plenty of time before the T20 World Cup.
Yeah.
And there are 7 matches in Pakistan as well.
Yeah, there are.
So you've got your eye on those and that T20 squad?
Yeah, also we have the 100 starting this week. I've had an annoying injury and a toe injury, not even an injury, a classic injury really. It's a bit of a laceration to my toe.
How did you do that?
It's bowling really. I had a small cut, which isn't uncommon, fast bowlers, big toes. And but for some reason I played a blast game, and that small cut became quite a large one and required stitches, and unfortunately that wound then reopened when I played here against India a few weeks ago now. So just trying to get it right and get it behind me. I'm hopefully not too far away now, but yes, I've had a lot of injuries in my career unfortunately, and this is, I won't say it's the most frustrating one. I've had stress fractures and the like, but it's been annoying because just kind of a cut on your toe you don't expect to be missing cricket for.
Well, when you've had stress fractures and whatnot, that's what you consider to be a proper injury then, isn't it?
And you can kind of
a big toe, all the other one.
It's been tough, I'll be completely honest, and as much as I enjoy talking to you, Dan, I'd much rather be out there with the boys now than I would be here with you. But there's still hopefully a lot of cricket left for me this year. Have the 100, as I say, we start here on Wednesday, which I'm hoping to be back fit for, and then we have, as you say, 7 T20s in Pakistan potentially, which will be really exciting. I've been lucky enough to play a few times in Pakistan. I've gone and played PSL there 3 times, I think. So it's a great place to play cricket, and then hopefully there's another World Cup out in Australia in October as well.
Yep, it's a very, very busy winter for T20. The England team have made their way down to the side of the ground. So with more thoughts on that and what England have learned from the previous T20 campaign, what needs to, change, probably win the toss. It was the issue in the UAE, that's all they needed to do. More from Timal as the players come out. I don't really want to come off air now because Atif has given me such a splendid shoulder rub. But, that is marvellous. Sorry, Timal, more from you, and then it's going to be Atif Nawaz.
Yeah, out come England now for the second half of this first innings in Southampton. No overs have been lost so far. We've been off a couple of times, but only for brief showers, and it looks pretty good over to our right where the weather is coming from, so fingers crossed there'll be no more interruptions. South Africa 80 for 2 after 10 overs. Ed Markram, most recent to the crease on 11. Reza Hendricks has been there from the start, 30 off 35, would like to increase that strike rate a little bit as he gets into the second half, but as is the issue, I guess, as a batter, when you kind of coming on and off, you kind of have to restart, don't you? You have to go again. You don't have that rhythm that you have from batting, facing balls, the feeling of the pitch, getting your pockets, your dimensions. You have to go off the field for 10-15 minutes, then you come back on and you almost feel like you got to get your eye in again.
Yeah, you got to start all over again. It does feel like that a little bit. The good news is we're not expecting too much more, right? We're expecting one more burst, but it's not expected to last very long, is what I've been told. So that's good news for everybody out there. I imagine it'll be like a 5-minute thing. May not even have to come off for it if it remains to that point. Lots of sawdust about the ground just to make sure things are dry. And as you were saying, Tim, one of the good things is after the rain we get this burst of sunshine. I was out on the balcony as well a bit earlier, and it's so strong, the heat. I thought I was going to get a sunburn on a day like today. Well, in any case, the action is about to resume. 80 for 2 South Africa, 10 overs gone. Sam Curran about to run in to bowl his second over. He bowls his short outside off, and it's been pushed half stopped at extra cover. Terrific diving effort there from Moeen Ali, and they get through for a single. 81 for 2. Markram on to 12 off 10. It's the 2 wickets to fall, both bowled so far today. David Willey with the first wicket in the first over, and then Moeen Ali getting the wicket of Riley Rousseau, just denting that momentum. And South Africa feel good about trying to get a big total here as conditions improve. In comes Curran. This is short. It's been pulled out towards deep backward square leg. It's well fielded by Liam Livingston deep on the boundary. They managed to just take the single. 82 for 2. As we talked a little bit about T20 cricket and the unrelenting schedule demands, going to be very intriguing to watch how things happen in January. We're talking about this just before play started, but some players opting for South Africa, some opting for the UAE, others just sticking around in Australia. There's a lot of options It's Curran in from wide of the crease. This is short, slightly slower as well. It's been pulled, mistimed really, down to long on for a single. Just took the pace right off that one, Sam Curran. Went hard into the ground. Changes of pace do well here, don't they?
Yeah, they tend to, especially when you bowl them short. As I just mentioned earlier, it's probably the biggest playing surface in England. Big square boundaries, you're probably pushing 80-metre boundaries, kind of square, which are very few and far between in world cricket. Obviously, most grounds preferring to bring the boundaries in and see some more sixes hit.
Curran in, this is full, flicked away, just wide of the fielder at long on, but they'll still just get the single. Good bit of work down below us by Bairstow. 84 for 2 after 10.4 overs. The floodlights flickering on here with the Aegeus Bowl for a bit of added illumination. Adds to the drama. It must be such a wonderful place to play most of your cricket. We'll find out when we can expect you back in action very shortly. As in comes Curran once more. This is short, pulled handsomely, but picks out the fielder at mid-wicket. It's Jason Roy out there, and just a single to the score. I mean, have you got a date in mind, a target in mind? Like this is looking like a good halfway through the 100.
Oh no! Hopefully, I'll be back well before that. Look,
Okay.
we play here on Wednesday. We play the opening game, and I'll see how training goes tomorrow. But I'm aiming to play the first game. If not, we actually have a week until the second game up in Birmingham. So fingers crossed, the toe won't keep me out for too long.
Curran in another short ball. Really took off a length, that one. It's been given a wide by the umpire. He likes that short length there. Sam Curran really looks to challenge the batter's ability when he's got to sort of smell that leather. But just a little bit too far that time. Just a bit too short.
With the bounce, especially when you're a shorter guy like Sammy is, you have to bowl them short, and you accept that a wide overhead high is okay, because you don't really want to be bowling them rib high, because batters, especially like Aidan Markram and Reza Hendricks, are strong on the pull shot.
In comes Curran. This is slightly fuller. Shoveled down to long on for a single. Bairstow fields another single to the score. And that is the end of the 11th over. 7 runs off it. And as you suspected, Tamals are struggling to find their timing. South Africa, after that break, we've had 2 breaks in play because of rain so far today. Hopefully, we won't have too many more, although we do expect possibly one more. It's good to see all the umbrellas being put away. It is very warm as well, it has to be said. As I was saying, I was at the balcony and it got a little burn. It's so hot. It should help dry out the outfield as well. This is handy, because you certainly don't want anybody slipping and sliding outside doing themselves an injury.
No, of course. By English standards, the rain that we've had has hardly been worrisome, has it? It's just been a quick brief shower, and as you say, hopefully all behind us now, and we can have a good afternoon of cricket.
Adil Rashid to come in for his 3rd over now. This is full. It's been driven handsomely out to deep extra cover and front to square for a single, fielded by Liam Livingston out there. Just saw a fan in the crowd, where a lady carrying a baby. The lady had a South Africa cricket shirt on. The baby had an England women's football shirt on.
Oh, there we go.
Interesting.
Foot in both camps.
There we go. Rashid in once again. Lots of flight on this one, but a low full toss, been swept away. Timed beautifully, but again picks out David Willey at mid-wicket. Single this time. Adil Rashid still looking to find his rhythm. Hasn't quite settled in the way that England would like since his return from pilgrimage. And he comes again. A bit fuller this time, a bit quicker. Flicked away out towards mid-wicket by Hendricks. Another single to the score. 90 for 2 off 11.3 overs. Big game. Who have you got tonight, Timal?
England all the way, of course. See, I live down in Hove, obviously adjoined to Brighton, so where England have been playing a few of their group games.
In comes Rashid again. This time the ball's pushed just wide of extra cover. A bit aerial there. Sweeper will get the throw in. Livingston again, keep him busy out there. Another single, 91 for 2. Yeah, the Amex. So you probably saw a ton of games at the Amex.
Yeah, well, I haven't been to any myself, but you can see a lot of people who have been going to the games. Brighton itself has been full of England football fans. Certainly gripped the city that I live in.
This is short and pulled down the ground. Just a little bit of a chase for long on, but he gets there. It's very quick as Chris Jordan. Just a single to the score. Applauded that fielding effort. Yeah, I have the same sort of feeling, because I live in Wembley, and perfect. That's where the game is today, but I've chosen to be in Southampton for this. So missing out on possibly the biggest footballing moment in English football history for a while, at least, as this is full and swept handsomely by Aidan Markram out towards mid-wicket. A terrific sliding stop there. Brilliant piece of fielding by David Willey. He had to get across a long way. It's a slippery surface out there because of all the rain as well, but just textbook dive. 93 for 2 after 12 overs. That dive wouldn't be amiss in that Euro Cup final later.
No, it was really good work from David. You say it's a sprint around to his left. It's one of the ones where you have to time the slide perfectly, otherwise you'll either fall short or you'll over slide it. So he timed it perfectly and was able to pick up and throw, and then it was a perfect throw over the top into Rash over the stumps as well, and rightly so. He gets a big round of applause from the crowd and your teammates alike. It's always nice when you know those are the type of things you practice in training, and you do these high intensity building sessions. So when you get out in the game and they come off, it is a nice feeling.
He's got the elbow covers on as well, just to protect himself from like grass burns and things like that. But it's covered in like sort of a greenish turf colour, just showing you that it is quite wet on the outfield. A bit of time's passed since the last boundary now for South Africa. 39 balls since the last boundary in 23 minutes of active play. It's Chris Jordan's coming back into the attack, and you get the feeling Aidan Markram's going to have to go here. He's on 17 off 15. In comes Chris Jordan. He bowls back of a length, flicked away hard, just to the right of long on. They're going to shake on the arm of Bairstow for a second. And they picked it well. They set off very early and made it back for that 2 comfortably in the end. 95 for 2. Run rate at the moment 7.81. They'll need, you imagine, close to sort of upwards of 170, maybe 180 even, to challenge this England team.
Yeah, I think with the boundary dimensions here at the Ageas Bowl, you can probably bring it down a touch just because you know that boundaries are slightly harder to come by.
Jordan in. This is short. It's been pulled high and in the gap between mid-wicket and long on. Runs away to the boundary just in front of the hotel end. And that is 4 runs. As we suspected, some more aggressive intent coming out from South Africa as they look to build this total. 99 for 2 of 12.2 overs.
Yeah, and as I said, with those bigger boundaries come bigger pockets.
Yeah.
So the physical gap between, in this case, long on and deep mid-wicket is bigger. At another ground, those two fielders will be closer together, and as such would probably have had a better chance of cutting off that boundary. So there are pros and cons of the bigger field, and that time Markram managed to time the ball well enough to get it between the two fielders.
Jordan in again. Markram makes a bit of room outside off and carves that away out to deep extra cover for a single. Just sort of a double bluff there from Chris Jordan. 100 comes up for South Africa. 100 for 2 off 12.3 overs, going at exactly 8 and over at the moment, South Africa. And Chris Jordan just under a bit of pressure here. He's gone for 24 from his 9 balls so far. Reza Hendricks, he's got 41 to his name. He'll be looking to attack as well. 100 for 2. Jordan takes those couple of steps and sets off. In he runs, and he bowls length ball, just full of a length, in fact, just muscled down to long on by Hendricks for a single. 101 for 2. Just took a lot of pace off that one, did Chris Jordan. The previous ball was 87, and the one he just bowled was 75.
Yeah, but against the length, isn't it? Into the pitch, getting the batter to hit square. CJ's pace has been up this year, definitely. I know he had an operation on a trapped nerve, I think at the end of the season before last, that was kind of affecting his arm, his bicep, and he had an operation to help release that nerve, and since then his pace has certainly been up. He's been up and over 90 mile an hour this series, which is great to see.
Oh, that's down the leg side. It'll be given a wide by the umpire. His pace is up. That was up again to 87 miles per hour, just losing his radar at the moment. As we say, feeling a bit of pressure. I've almost got used to seeing Chris Jordan bowl his 4 overs right at the death of the innings. Like, people think of him as specialist death, but he's a very useful swing bowler up the order as well. Yeah,
he can be. And back when he was playing 4-day cricket for Sussex and previously Surrey, he certainly played a lot of red ball cricket and swung the ball traditionally, and it's just the way that cricket goes nowadays. People's careers go down different paths.
It's Jordan in, driven down to long on. They'll just jog through for a single this time. 103 for 2. 1 ball to come in the 13th. Rosa Hendricks, 42 off 37 for him. You get the feeling he's going to look to accelerate, take that strike rate higher. It's just a touch over 100 at the moment, but it's really not good enough in modern T20 cricket.
Yeah, especially when you've got David Miller, Tristan Stubbs kind of ready to come in. They're 2 guys that certainly strike at a high strike rate traditionally, so he's obviously trying. No batters out there trying to hit ones and twos.
Jordan in again. Another big try from Hendricks. He drives that. Can only find Johnny Bairstow at long on. So another single to finish the over. 104 for 2 off 13 overs. Jordan collects his hat and walks away. There's a give Tamal Mills a little break. Let Ebony Rainford Brent come in alongside me. People in Southampton enjoying the dance cam. Cameras in the ground showing loads of fans having fun. Lots of South African support as well here in Southampton. Good to see both the touring teams this summer, all three of them in fact, New Zealand, India and South Africa, getting lots of support from fans here in England. Huge pockets of support. I mean, earlier in Edgbaston today there's also big numbers of Indian and Pakistani fans coming out to support their teams. 104 for 2 after 13 overs. Adil Rashid to continue. Starts with a flatter delivery. It's been smashed high up in the air and just wide of the fielder at long off, and it'll run away to the boundary. 4 more runs. Jason Roy did give chase, but he was merely a spectator. As Hendricks collects another boundary. He's within 3 of a half century now. South Africa 108 for 2 off 13.1.
Yeah, you feel Hendricks needs to now turn the screw really. His strike rate only around sort of 110 before this shot. He's now getting it up there, but I think he's going to have to give South Africa something to work with.
Rashid begins his ballet-like run in he comes. That ball's been muscled down to long on this time for a single. Hendricks, it looks like he's just trying to hit the cover off the ball every delivery. He's feeling that pressure. I think as Tamal was saying, he knows he's got Miller and Stubbs to come and can't really mess about. 109 for 2. 2 balls into the 14th over. Adil Rashid, and he comes. Lots of flight on this one. Cut hard. Picks out the fielder at deep extra cover. Another single.
It's not easy to score, but equally what you don't want is the conditions to improve. Let's say the rain dries up, the conditions get better for England a little bit later, and it comes on easier to the bat.
So Adil Rashid, in he comes again. Another fuller ball, but Hendricks goes deep in his crease and just pulls this down to long on for a single. 49 off 41 for Hendricks now.
I want to see Stubbs.
Yeah.
I say get him up the order. If there's a wicket, get Stubbs in. They actually did that
Above
in the last
Miller?
game.
Over
I think
Miller?
that's what they did in the last game.
Yeah, he did
didn't
come
they?
above Miller. He did come above Miller. It's good to see that selflessness as well, because David Miller would almost be within rights to say, oh, hang on a second, mate. That was Killer Miller before you were, before you were around. 1-1-1 for 2. In comes Rashid. That ball is swept nicely, and that's going to run away to the boundary. Just one bounce. It was hit hard by Aidan Markram. Perfectly bisects the fielders at deep backward square leg. And sort of a squarish fine leg. 4 more to the score. Markram so elegant when he gets down on one knee and just brings the free-flowing bat through, almost like a whip, something out of an Indiana Jones film.
Yeah, good high backlift there, wasn't it? He picked that length perfectly and then got the extension of the hands out in front. More of those.
115 for 2. In comes Rashid now. This is full, driven again, wide of extra cover. Fielder deep in the covers will have work to do. Sweeping Livingston. He's been very, very good out there today. Had a lot of work to do as well. Lots of drives coming his way and a lot of ground to cover, but he's done very, very well. South Africa, 116 for 2 after 14 overs. Markram 31, Hendricks 49.
12 from that over. You feel if they can go at a similar rate, that gets them up near that 180, 190. That I think is a good score. Especially that they started slow, they recovered. I think if they can go at that, and let's say any of the batters towards lower order can get that big over, then they could get a few more than that. So even though they've had some quiet spells, they're starting to pick back up.
It is that kind of ground as well, where it's very hard to, immediately start hitting 4s and 6s. And you do wonder when Stubbs and Miller come in. Maybe Miller's had a bit of experience here, but Stubbs will want to play there before. So it'll be interesting to see.
He's
if
too
he's able
young to worry about, this ground or having
experience or stats.
Yeah, just get out there and whack it when you're. It's only after you get out and then you start going, oh, I remember that ground where I got out.
Reece Topley now running in from the hotel end. Bowls a slow ball, which Markram waits on well, drives out to deep extra cover for a single. 117 for 2 now the score for South Africa. 1 ball into the 15th over. Hendricks is on strike again. I'll be looking for at least a single for the next, just to get to the half century. And then the old hit the milestone and then hit the ball as hard as you can. It's nice and pleasant here in Southampton now. As in comes Topley. That ball's on the hips of Hendricks. He whips it away down to fine leg. They're coming back for a second. The throw comes in. And oh, it's a really slick piece of keeping there from Josh Butler, who just kind of relayed the ball into the stumps. And it's going to go up for an umpire review. He doesn't look super confident from his body language. We'll find out momentarily if Hendricks does indeed have his 50.
It was a very good throw in from the boundary. I'm not sure if it was Curran down there, but it was straight into Butler over the stumps. So there was no time lost through the air.
Just grounded his bat. He's just home. But it was a really slick piece of work from Josh Butler. He flung his gloves towards the ball and added velocity and speed to the ball as it travelled towards the stumps. A good running by Rosa Hendricks, and he does indeed bring up his 50. 51 for him off 42 balls. It's been hard work at times. But he's got there in the end. That's his 10th 50 in his 46th international T20 match. He's back on strike. As in comes Topley. This is full, flicked away towards that gap between deep backward square leg and fine leg. They're going to come back for two again. This time comfortably home. Good bit of running between the wickets by this pair. 121 for 2 now, the score for South Africa.
Well, I was just thinking as well with the World T20 around the corner, backing up to a half century in the last game, one in this game. Maybe not the pace that we would like today, but equally a difficult wicket. Just keep his name in the hat. 3 50s in a row.
Yeah, he's been batting really well at the moment, Reza Hendricks. In comes Topley. There's a slow ball, but he's just muscled it over the infield. That's going to a couple of bounces into the hover cover to the right of the ground in front of the golf course. Well, he saw it coming, really. He just waited on it. 73 miles per hour, so a reasonable drop in pace in that delivery. But Hendricks just waited. Again, didn't get all of it. Slightly high up on the bat. Enough of a contact to clear the infield. With the long off up inside the circle. Just a long on in place, a deep mid-wicket. Deep extra cover and a fine leg. In comes Topley. It's a low full toss, driven down the ground. It's been hit very, very hard. Good bit of fielding by Johnny Bairstow at long on. Another single to the score. And 26 for 2. 1 ball to come in the 15th.
Yeah, quick across the ground, isn't he, Bairstow? You can hear applause for how quick he ran around. That could have easily been 2.
They're just managing to hit at least 1 4 and over here, South Africa, but you get the feeling they want to up that to 2 or 3 and over. Challenge England as in comes Topley, cramping the batter for room that time. He moved a long way across his crease there to make some room, but in the end just cramped up by that ball from Topley. Just a single from that delivery. 127 for 2 after 15 overs. How far can South Africa take this? Well, little prediction from yourself maybe, Ebbs? Where are they going to finish? I think they've got a bit of hitting in them. I'm going to go 185. Tell us where you think they're going to end up, and let's see what Daniel Norcross thinks when he joins you in a moment.
Yeah, I'm going to go out and put it around the 180 mark. I think they've been going at 10s, 11s and over for the last couple. However, if there is a wicket and Stubbs come in, I think there's a little bit more in the tank. But these two, they're not clearing the boundary because of the pace of the wicket. They've been trying to force it, but there's, I don't know. What do you feel, Dan? 180. So I'm going 180, which is about 11-ish.
Yeah, so
and over.
10.6 and over from here. That's doable.
Done your maths. Did you have a calculator, or is that just your Cambridge
do I
background?
look like I have it's not Cambridge.
Oxford, sorry. Same thing, isn't it?
I'm not getting sucked in. Sam Curran is going to start from the Rod Bransgrove Pavilion end. 5 overs left. I think 190's on here. It's a lot of 2s you can get at this ground. There's a massive gap on the onside as well. No one saved one apart from short fine leg. Next delivery is short. Cut into the ground. It goes up into the air and bounces down into Butler's gloves. It went that fine. And there's no run. We've got a deep backward square. Deep, I thought I saw a deep mid wicket. This is a deep backward square and a deep forward square, really, and a wide long on. There's a deep cover, and I'm missing a fielder. Oh, long off, camouflage somewhat out there. Also pretty wide. As Curran, left arm over the wicket, is in, and that's reached for and driven along the ground out towards deep point. 128 for 2. It's been a decent partnership, 72 from 8 overs, exactly 9 and over, pretty much.
That's what I was
Round
thinking.
about that. Yeah, it's around about 9s. But they're going to up it from here, you would think. As I say, it's a large ground, so 2s become a possibility amidst the 4s. It's shorter, straighter, but a lot longer to the square boundaries. As Curran scurries in, that's flicked away gloriously for 4. Wow, that's hit the boundary sponge within about half a second of it coming off the bat. That went so quickly, and it went to the left of fine leg, short fine leg, Reece Topley, and it sped down to the boundary.
Just waiting for the umpire to
is he
signal. Was
thinking
that a
it's
6?
Well, the fielder's convinced that it was a 4. Phil Salt out there. We're just going to see now that, well, that replay doesn't help. That's why it went so quickly. It burst through one of the sort of Toblerones down there at long leg, really, and the umpire's waiting to get confirmation from upstairs.
I'll tell you what, that was some quick wrists, wasn't it?
Wasn't it?
Just went away like a rocket. Still having a look here, Dan. Come on.
Let's see. I can't see where the ball is. Can you yet?
No.
No. I still can't see. We're looking at the... Ah, there. It's over there.
Oh, yeah.
It's bounced just in front of the sponge and then thwacked into it. So that will be 4. Pretty sure. If we can see that immediately, how long does it take a third umpire, do you think?
Longer.
You've taken the 5th on that. Right. Yep. 4 has finally been signalled. We got there eventually. Hendricks moves to 62. And the score 132 for 2. As Curran rushes in with that intensity. Angry young man. Wide of the off stump, but given wide. Ooh, that was tight. Well, I'd like to see that one again as well. That looked to me like it was just inside the wide line.
It's the same sort of width as the second ball of the over. Just there's a.
No,
it was definitely wider. There's that blue marker line.
And Hendricks didn't move his feet at all. He just sort of reached for it. It's also kind of made it look even wider. We've got a short third, short fine leg, so long on, long off a back, which allows Curran to bowl it full. And he's in. That is quite full. It gets a thick edge that flies over deep first slip and down to the boundary for 4. He was looking to hit that in quite literally the exact opposite direction. And he was aiming really for mid-wicket, and it's flown off the edge and over the top of the slip. A fortuitous boundary. We've seen a few of those today. And Hendricks moves to 66. That bounced a bit on him as well, isn't it?
It did. I feel for Sam Curran there because he saw him move and actually adjusted the ball, so he got everything right, and then ended up a bit of poor luck as he closed the face and got the top of the bat.
It's a cruel mistress cricket. As Curran is in, another swing and a miss, and this time not given as a wide, almost lifting himself off his feet there, Hendricks. 137 for 2. One ball remains in the 16th.
He's liking this wide Yorker tactic. I suppose 10 runs from the over, you'll still take it. If he can close this out, a single, 2, you'd take this any day of the week towards it.
England would love a wicket, though. Their bowling's been pretty penetrative with the white ball this summer, but today, wicket's been hard to come by. Just the 2 so far. That's short, pulled between the 2 fielders out in the square leg boundary, and he's got it away for 4. It's a wonderful shot from Hendricks again. It sped off the bat so quickly, and he managed to get it between the forward square leg and the long leg, and into the boundary for 4 more. So 14 off the over. Hendricks to 70. Markram has 34. 141 for 2. 4 overs remain. 10 and over from here gets to 181. 12 and over, 189. 12 and over when you've got 8 wickets in hand on what's a mostly blameless pitch. What I would say about it, though, Ebony, is that it's just a bit of spit in it, isn't there?
Yeah, it's just gripping a little bit. And earlier there was overcast conditions. I don't know if that will come into favour as much for the South African bowlers, but there was a lot going on, and hence those power play overs started very slowly. I'm still feeling a good score here, Dan. Mid 180s and above.
What are you thinking, though, about Moeen Ali and the lack of Moeen Ali? He's bowled the 1 over when there was a left-hander in. He picked up that wicket with a lovely ball.
Yeah.
He's bowled 1 over, 1 for 4. Is it just too dangerous to bowl him against 2 right-handers? Is that the thinking? As Jordan comes into the attack for the 17th over. I mean, England have 6 bowlers, so they don't, strictly speaking, need to use him. Jordan in, first delivery right in the block hole, and it's driven to short extra cover. He's on the edge of the circle there, but it went so firmly to the fielder that there was no chance of a run.
Yeah, he could have definitely come back earlier. The only thing I'll say now is England do have quite a clear plan towards the end of the innings with their seamers. Jordan tends to come in and bowl at the death. Topley's got one left. He likes to go to Curran also. So I just wonder if he's now missed that window. He would have bowled Ali.
Jordan has 2. Willie bowled his 3 overs, one after the other. And of course he got de Kock out. It's the third ball as Jordan is in. That's down the leg side and hits the pad and rolls away down towards long leg. Think of a second, it isn't there. So the fielder runs in. Curran at long leg. 142 for 2. Leg by signalled. Hendricks on to 70. Markram 34.
Hendricks has picked up his strike rate, which is good. He's sort of around that 100, 110 for a long time, just trying to find a way to settle in. But now you can just see the intent has picked up towards the final overs.
The deep extra cover, but 4 men in the ring on the offside. The leg side, all boundary riders. That's gone high in the air. Long, long way up. Butler's going after it. And he takes the catch. A really good catch. Running away to his left. It was in the air for a long, long time. It went really to a sort of shortish backward square leg just inside the circle. So Butler had a fair bit of ground to make. And then when he did get there, he had to just dive forward two-handed. And England have made the breakthrough. Hendricks goes for 70. Jordan has his wicket. South Africa 142 for 3.
Well, interesting there how much pace Jordan took off it down to early 70s. So just foxed the batter as he was trying to get through his shot. Ended up threw it way too early. Well done to Josh Butler though. He had to run quite a way. I think he was kind of on the way and wasn't sure, and then realised towards the back end he had to get his legs moving a little bit. But an excellent innings again. 3 half centuries in a row. We'll take that any day of the week.
Well, it had to be Butler's because everyone on the leg side, as I was just explaining, right out on the boundary. So the long leg, deep square, deep mid-wicket and long on. So once it's gone up in the air, if it's only going to make it to around the edge of the circle, no one else is getting there except Butler. And he's got the gloves as well, and he took the catch well. 142 for 3, a very useful wicket for England. It brings David Miller out to bat, so they haven't been tempted with Stubbsy.
And you're not getting... See, look, it's all right for me. I've seen Stubbs do what he does.
You've seen him, yeah.
But you're now having to wait.
It's a form of delayed gratification, really, isn't it? That's the idea.
Special day for Miller today. 100th T20 International.
Now, is he on strike? That ball was in the air for a long, long time. I imagine Markram's on strike. He is. As Jordan is in, right arm over. He gives himself room and drives a very full delivery all the way up to Moeen Ali at mid-off, who's right on the edge of the circle. This time, because he didn't quite get the power in it. They get through for a single. 16.4 overs. The 100 balls is up. 143 for 3. We'll be discussing the 100 during the break with Tamar Mills, who, of course, plays for the defending champions at this very ground.
The Braves. Well, in the men's.
Is that the best name, Southern Brave?
Oval Invincibles is the best name. Best kit, best colour.
It works
best
well
ground.
Until they lose a game. And then it sort of feels a bit tricky. Oval Invincibles played 9.
You're not invincible
anymore.
No longer invincible.
No longer. They're very much the Vincibles after that. Yeah. Round the wicket comes Jordan to the left-handed Miller. And Miller thrashes at a short ball outside the off stump, connects with it beautifully down to the boundary for 4 at point. Backward point, his first ball. Jordan just not getting his length right, and a bit too much width. 92 miles an hour though. He's bowled some very quick balls in this T20 series as Chris Jordan.
Yeah, good pace there, but you've got to get that line right. Just offered a little bit too much width to allow Miller to use that pace and get it quite fine behind point.
So there's been a wicket in the over and 6 runs from it. 1 ball remains. 147 for 3. Mid-wicket's up inside the circle for the left-handed Miller. Long on is back. Mid-off is up. Short again, smashed again, and 4 again through backward point. Almost identical. That time it was a little bit tighter to Miller, but he got such quick hands and great wrists, and he managed to flash off his bat for 4 more, brings up the 150, and what had been a terrific over from Chris Jordan. Just, 2 runs coming off the bat and a wicket, and the last 2 balls. It's played that really well, Ebony.
Oh, it's absolutely beautifully played. It was a little bit shorter and a fraction wide, and it just allowed him to get up on his toes, and then he got that high back lift down, almost what you see them to teach young kids, get it from high to low through the ball. That was excellent.
When you played that shot there,
you worried you were going to get done.
Followed through straight to my face. Yeah.
Sorry, I get a little bit animated when.
No, it's good to watch. Yeah.
Do you ever see
You're playing the shot.
Have you ever seen like footage of us guys when we're on commentary and you don't realise how much we're doing?
Yes.
We're talking to you, my hands are in your face, showing you the ball, shot, shadow batting.
Well, a lot of it, yeah. You find yourself doing it, don't you? One of our commentators at Commonwealth Games, Melissa Story, plays every single shot. Start of a new over. Reece Topley from the pavilion end has been wonderfully ramp scooped for 4. Really fine. That is a shot of great skill from Markram. It was full, delivered from over the wicket, but with third up inside the ring. I say all he had to do was get down and flick it up and over. That's not the easiest thing to do to a guy bowling at 80 odd miles an hour, 81 miles an hour, and just a wonderful use of the wrists.
I think the angle helped. Topley left arm out going across, and it was sort of that fourth stump line, so we could just help it on its way.
So since the fall of the wicket, we've had a single and 3 fours. Topley in, moving right across to his off stump, and somehow Markram has managed to access long leg for 4. That ball was quite deliberately following Markram, who moved a long way outside off stump, and he's managed to flick it fine down to the boundary. This is terrific batting. 4 consecutive 4s now for South Africa. 159 for 3. Wow, it was so wide. It would have been a wide on the offside, and somehow Markram has managed to get that over deep backward square leg, long leg almost, for 4.
This is a brilliant finish here for South Africa. They've got to keep the foot on the gas, but
200's on.
200 is on. That would be a very good score.
Yeah. Well, what did Atif say? 185, I think he went for, didn't he?
I went nearer 190.
189. You went. Yeah. Let's be honest. 189.
All right.
Yeah. Topley in. Oh, where's that been clattered out towards wide, long off this time? Didn't quite get hold of that. I'm not sure it's precisely where he wanted it to go, but he's got a single. It's broken the run of 4s. 4 4s and now a single. 160 for 3.
I think I'm in the game with 189.
I think you're in the game.
Where were you?
I was 195.
Okay, you're in the game.
I'm in the game.
But once you pass your score, you're out the game.
Yes. Yes, once you pass your score,
yeah, it's not the closest to it.
Well, no. It is the closest to it if it's 196.
No, but you'd be out the game if someone else said 198.
You just suddenly invented this rule, yeah?
No. You know, it's once it passes your predicted score, you're out the game.
Okay.
That's it.
So is everybody out the game then if it gets to 196?
Yeah, but then I'll quickly change my score to 200.
Topley into the left-handed Miller, who drives through extra cover. I don't know how he's got that through there, and it's going to run away towards the boundary. It's a good sliding stop, but in vain in the end. Jordan chased it all the way to the boundary, got a hand on it, but he couldn't scoop it back quite far enough, and it just dribbled agonisingly back onto the sponge at deep extra cover. But Miller has he's dug that ball out. It was a very, very full ball. And he's held his shape and held the shot and played the drive through extra cover. And as it bounced maybe off, might have bounced off a wicket end or something similar, but it went way up in the air and it was agonisingly close to 2 fielders. And it's run away to the boundary for 4.
Well, while everyone else has, it's been a tricky wicket and taken time to get timing, he's just come in straight away and he's been on the money. 3 boundaries, strike rate 400.
Here's Topley to him again, and he manages to squeeze this to backward point. They think of shying at the stumps, but instead it's a simple single in the end. It was just a little turn of the wrists, angled it to the fielder there. He was right on the edge of the circle, but quick running from Markram at the long striker's end. 165 for 3. 1 ball remains in the 18th over.
I think they like keeping this left-hand, right-hand combination. We saw Tristan Stubbs come in the last game. I think that's what they work at maintaining.
Topley into Markram, and he moves, and as a result, Topley doesn't deliver the ball, which is something we see Dipti Sharma do a lot.
Yeah.
I swear I've seen Dipti Sharma take 12 minutes. Yeah, Mlaba.
Yeah, for South Africa women. Yeah. She did the same the other day, just pulls out.
Nonkuruliko Mlaba. Yes.
You've done well there.
Thank you. She does. She pulls out. I find it slightly annoying. Topley's in. And this time, Markram does nothing. and Topley. Topley's currently running figures of 8 at the moment. He's running into bowl and then just running back.
It's like school cricket, isn't it? Right, I've got this one. No, sir, let me go again. No, hold on, let me go again.
That was an interesting one because Markram did not move a muscle on that occasion. Now, I expect Markram to pull out. Well, let's see if Markram pulls out here. That's what I would do. In comes Topley, and now he's gone across his stumps and he's got into a tangle. It's clattered into his pads and rolled out into the offside. Topley tidies up, end of the over, a leg bye from the last ball. Miller has 13 from 4. Markram has 44. We'll have strike at the start of the 19th over. South Africa 166 for 3. Ebony's making her way off for TV, I should imagine now. Timar Mills has joined us. It's been entertaining stuff, hasn't it?
It's been good, isn't it? It's picked up. It's a bit circumspect the first 10 overs. Some good bowling from England on and off the pitch. We're both sides due to the weather, but this last 4 or 5 overs, South Africa have played some really inventive shots, put the English bowling under some pressure, and with 2 overs to go, you'd say South Africa are pretty happy. They're going to walk off with a score that they'll be happy to give a good go defending it.
Well, they've hit 62 in the last 5 overs. They were going on at a regular 8 and over. They kept on being at 8 and over, up to 104 from 13.
One thing they did, I noticed, nobody really batted with great fluency, but there wasn't a lot of dot balls. That at least they were getting ones. They were picking up a lot of 2s. Whilst they didn't hit a boundary at one point, for 30 odd balls did they? But in that meantime, they did hit a lot of 2s using this big outfield here at the Ageas Bowl. And then when they've kind of found their fluency, the runs have come a lot quicker.
It's a ground for 2s, isn't it? It's sort of designed for 2s. As Jordan's going to bowl his 4th and final over. Yorker is his preferred method towards the death, and that's right in the block hole on the leg side. And it's flicked away out to deep square leg. They think of a second, it isn't there. Not a 2 on this occasion. It just went a little bit too quickly to the fielder. Markram to 45. And Roy was very quick to the ball. Miller has 13, is back on strike. And he's batted, he's faced 4 balls, hit 3 4s and a single. And one of them was Lara-esque, I'd say. The second cut really wasn't that wide at all. Just a little flick, which, as Ebony was describing it, narrowly missed my nose. Fine leg is up. 3rd is up. Long on and long off a back, which I suppose is the field you'd have for Yorkers.
Yeah, if you're predominantly looking to bowl full. The only problem is with Miller and Markram being strong on the ramp shot. See, Chris Jordan's essentially challenging David Miller to play a ramp shot. You're almost saying I'd rather you ramp me than hit me conventionally, with Miller being a strong leg side hitter.
Jordan in, Miller swings and misses. That's a rapid ball. Let's see how fast that one was. 90 miles an hour precisely. 145 kilometres an hour, if that's your preferred method. He does have a lot of pace on him, does Jordan. And we've always known he's got the capacity to bowl quick, but this summer he just seems to have...
Yeah, I mentioned off-air CJ's pace this last year or so has been definitely up from kind of mid-80s into that upper 80s and touching 90 mile an hour. He had an operation to release a nerve in his shoulder that affected his bowling arm, which I know since then has really helped him. That was maybe pushing 2 years ago.
Jordan in, that's right in the block hole again. It's been hit firmly and high and out over long on, miles into the crowd for 6. Just missed the Yorker length, and it has gone a long way back. It's gone up to the left of the sight screen below us, and that is the first 6 of the match, because England have been pretty disciplined in the way they've bowled. They've forced the South Africans mostly to find their boundaries square of the wicket, so pretty hard to hit 6s square of the wicket here, but that one was just in the slot, and it's gone a long way back. That's gone up to the 2nd tier, up by the concourse. If you happen to be walking past with your pint, you would have been in peril.
Yeah, it's a very good hit. He's a strong man, David Miller. He's in really good form dating back to the IPL. This time of the innings where he comes alive.
Wide, outside the off stump, slower ball, goes through on the bounce. It's signalled wide by the umpire. 174 for 3. 32 from 13 balls, this partnership. In no small result of Miller's 19 from 6. 3 4s and a 6. A hugely experienced player, David Miller. He was due to come in at 6 in the last game, but Stubbs came in ahead of him. This time to keep the left hand, right hand. He's there now. Jordan into him, and he cuts a short ball out to deep extra cover. They'll just be the one. There's Roy. Again, is quick across the turf. Sends in the throw on the bounce. 175 for 3. So it's absolutely crucial that it's not 189.
Who's
Ebony?
Okay.
Yeah, she's already got a lot of bragging rights in this series. I don't know if she stitched up Simon Mann good and proper in the last game. She's going to be delighted if it's 189 on the money. But if it's 190, she's out the game, as I understand it. But according to her rules.
Yeah, I was going to say she was the self-imposed.
You heard that, didn't you?
Yeah, I heard that from the back of the box.
Jordan into Markram, who swings at this. It's gone out through deep backward point, and it's going to make it all the way to the boundary. That's a long old boundary down there. And again, not 100% sure that's where he intended it.
No.
South Africans have been swinging a lot and getting a bit of good fortune today, but if you don't buy a ticket, you can't win the lottery. Markram to 49, 179 for 3.
Yeah, pretty ugly shot. He was aiming to just heave it down the ground and lost his shape completely, but the big swing helps him in the end, gets an thick outside edge, both point and third man up in the ring, so didn't have to do an awful lot to get to the boundary. See a little chat now between Chris Jordan. Josh Butler's made the rundown from his wicket-keeping position. Moeen Ali's come up to have a word as well, so just discussing tactics for this last delivery of Chris Jordan's spell. He walks back to the crease now, just probably put a bit of dirt on his hands, get a bit of grip back on the ball.
He's brought up his 50 with that 4. 1 for 50.
It's never nice as a bowler. As soon as you're into the 50s, you know it's been a tough day. 40s is not great. You know, ideally you want to anything under 30, you're very happy. You can
Very
walk
happy,
off.
yeah.
I've gone in the 20s, even better the teens. 30s, okay. 40s, not great. 50.
Ouch.
Yeah, you're forgetting today pretty quickly.
Last ball. Jordan in full again, driven down the ground, and that is being pursued by Bairstow, who does get there. Wasn't quite timed. Came off the bottom of the bat, and 50 comes up for Aidan Markram. He has 51 from 36. Been a fine knock. 5 4s in that. A lot of 1s and a lot of 2s. And South Africa at the end of the 19th over, 181 for 3. Jordan finishes with figures of 1 for 52 in 4. I feel he's bowled a bit better than that. He's bowled with great pace. 88 miles an hour the last ball, 88 miles per hour before that. A couple in the 90s in that over. Was he perhaps guilty of not giving us a little bit more of a change up? I don't know. It's kind of perilous to bowl a slower ball with short straight boundaries.
Yeah,
isn't
it's
it?
tough. You have to get the length exactly right, and obviously hindsight's obviously a great help as well to say what you should have done. There was definitely a couple of fortuitous boundaries at the start of his spell. I remember in CJ's first over, he bowled a really good ball that Riley Rousseau just kind of knocked on the head, and that went down to third man. Then it was an inside edge, it went for 4, and then when those are your first, I think those were 2 of his first 3 deliveries, sometimes you can feel you then go away from that plan. Even though you bowled 2 good balls, you think, okay, I've just gone for 2 boundaries, I've got to change what I'm doing, and then things can often get away from you a little bit. But look, it's T20 cricket. You're playing against some of the better batters in the world on what seems a good pitch here at the Ageas Bowl. It happens. CJ's had a brilliant summer with the ball. You won't lose too much sleep over tonight. You just learn from it and move on.
I'm interested about this. Was it a nerve? Was it that was? As Willie's going to start the last over, intriguingly, into Miller. It's a short ball. He gets slightly surprised by and dinks it into the onside. And that ball has only gone a yard outside the fielding circle, but they can still get through for a couple of runs. That's how deep the field is on the leg side. Everybody right at the boundary. 183 for 3.
So without saying too much, I guess I know CJ had a nerve in his shoulder that was affecting his bicep.
Oh, I see.
So that ran down the arm, and then he was having problems with his elbow. You'll see he wears a sleeve now because he has to have his elbow strapped. But obviously your bicep helps protect your elbow, doesn't it? So he had to have I think they eventually figured out what was causing it, and that they had to have a small operation to just kind of release the nerve, which then helps the bicep get bigger. And
Willie bowled him. Swing, miss from Miller, and the ball clatters into, looks like leg stump there. And that's fine bowling for Willie. Picks up his 2nd wicket. He bowled the 1st, the 3rd and the 5th over. He's come back to bowl the 20th with South Africa in a very strong position, but his first ball's gone for 2, and his next ball, he's made the breakthrough. He's got rid of the dangerous Miller, and South Africa are 183 for 4.
Yeah, he's having a good day, David Willey. Back into the side today. Missed out in the first couple of games. Replaced Richard Gleeson in this deciding third T20. Bowled really well in the power play. Got some movement. The big wicket of Quinton de Kock, and then come back in, as you say, to bowl this last over. David Miller was really well set. 22 off just 9 balls. Seeing it to all parts, but David Willey gets David Miller in this instance, and it brings out Tristan Stubbs, I believe, for the last few deliveries. A very talented young man. He actually replaced me in the IPL this year. I flew home a couple of weeks towards the end. I just had a bit of an ankle that needed an injection, and Tristan Stubbs replaced me. So whilst we represented the same franchise this year, I didn't get a chance to meet him, but he's been hugely impressive, hasn't he? And that game the other day when he scored 72 at Bristol was some brilliant hitting. So definitely one to look out for. He doesn't have very long today though.
You were like ships that passed in the night.
We were, sorry.
Yes. 4 balls. He has a potential 4 balls. I mean, really, his job is it's just to swing for the hills, but get bat on it at least, because Markram at the other end has 51 from 36 as the field spreads again. Willey comes in, left arm over the wicket to Stubbs. Stubbs swings down the ground, down towards the boundary. It should get there. Well, actually, no, brilliant. Well, it does in the end. A brilliant attempt from Chris Jordan, who had a long way to make up ground from wide long on. And he got the afterburners on, and then he got the dive out. He got the hand on it, but all he could do was parry it over the sponge. It was not timed, really. It was the bottom of the bat. But such is the power and the massive bats they have these days. It was enough to beat Jordan. 4 more. 187 for 4. How's that 189 looking like now, Ebony? She's still confident.
What was your
She needs a wicket. 195.
Oh, so you're in the game.
Very much in the game. I'd say sitting in pole position here. Willey in to Stubbs, who pulls up and over for 4. He got that very fine. He's got that over fine leg, who's up inside the circle. 191 for 4 now. And Stubbs faced 2 balls and then hit them both for 4.
Yeah, that's good batting. Short ball from David Willey, trying to get the batter to hit square. Stubbs gets across his crease and inside the line of the ball, which enables him to flip it over Adil Rashid, who's the man placed at short fine leg. Line slightly too straight from David Willey, you could argue, but a good shot nonetheless, especially when you're new to the crease. No time to get your eye in. Josh Buttler again just having the jog down from his wicket-keeping position, just to have a chat with David Willey for these last couple of deliveries.
Do you need to have these chats? I mean, is it not a sort of case for just signalling to each other?
Remember the batter is in between you and said signal. So if Josh Butler's telling David Willey what to do, there are 2 batters there watching.
Yeah, but you've got to have, like, that's what you mean. You've got to have code. You know, like some sort of strange.
You're giving us cricketers far too much credit for what we're capable of, I think.
Well, you have all these numbers, don't you? There's the number code.
So that's just for the captain and analyst, yeah.
Willey into Stubbs, short outside the off stump. It bounces in front of Butler, and that's a dot ball. So 191 for 4. Ebony out the game, Atif out of the game. 4 here, and I'd have got it spot on.
You never know. Well within play. You could argue that Ebony's more correct.
Well, no, she said that once you go over the number, you're out. She said that.
Off cut of that from David Willey, short, wide into the pitch. Kind of we talk about it sometimes. Bowling in the top corner. It's almost the hardest ball to hit. You have to.
Well, that's sort of head height, isn't it? And beyond the wide line, but he's moved so far across to the off stump, and it's tough to hit.
Yeah, it's a very tough spot. Obviously, your margins are very small because you've obviously got width and height, kind of both coming into the equation. But here we go, last ball of the innings.
191 for 4. Last ball. Willey in, has driven high in the air, up towards deep extra cover. Man comes round and takes the catch. Liam Livingstone with a good catch, had to make a lot of ground from deep extra cover, and Stubbs goes off the last ball, but South Africa, I think, will be pretty pleased with that. 191 for 5. David Willey finishes with a very impressive 3 for 25 from his 4 overs. Aidan Markram didn't face a ball in that last over. He's left on 51 not out from 36 balls, but 191 for 5. That feels, I mean, it doesn't feel insurmountable, but it feels like a hard get today, Timor Mills.
Yeah, I think South Africa will be really happy with that. They were 80 for 2 off 10 overs, so to go over 10s for 10 overs is a great effort in the second half, especially when you're on and off for a little bit for rain. It's a big playing surface here at the Ageas Bowl, chasing can be a touch difficult on a scoreboard. Pressure comes into it, so I think South Africa will be really happy. David Willey, he's had a really good day, 3 for 25. He'll be really pleased with. Spoke about earlier, Moeen Ali just bowling the 1 over, 1 for 4. It was a brilliant over at that. Could we have seen a little bit more from him? Maybe. The rest of the England bowlers, tough day at the office for them, but 192 to win it's going to be, and hopefully we're going to have a really good run chase.
Well, let me run you through the scorecard. First to go is Quinton de Kock in the very first over, bowled for a duck off the third ball for bowling of Willey. That was obviously 0 for 1. Then Riley Rousseau next to go, bowled by Moeen Ali, possibly the ball of the day. He might have played slightly inside the line, but there was certainly the ball straightened from the off spinner to the left-hander, snaked past the outside edge, clipped the off bail. Riley Rousseau got that 96 a few days ago down in Cardiff. He went for 31 from 18 with 6 fours. Next to go, Reza Hendricks, caught by Butler off Jordan, skying the ball. Butler had to make a lot of room to his left to take the catch, and had to put in the dive at the end as well. Hendricks made 70 from 50 with 9 fours. David Miller, a fine 9-ball 22, a great cameo. Hit his first 3 balls for 4, hit a towering 6. That was 183 for 4, and then off the very last ball of the innings, Tristan Stubbs, caught by Liam Livingstone on the boundary there off the bowling of Willey. Aidan Markram unbeaten on 51 from 36 with 5 fours. Set of bowling figures. David Willey definitely the pick of them today after that opening Waden, bowled a wicket maiden the first over of the innings. 4 overs, 1 maiden, 3 for 25. Reece Topley, 4 overs, no maidens, none for 45. Chris Jordan, 4 overs, no maidens, 1 for 52. Doesn't really tell you the story of his day, actually. Bowled some searing deliveries and a bit of good fortune from the South Africans, squeezing balls into unusual parts. Moeen Ali, 1 over, no maiden, 1 for 4. Was he underused? I wonder. It's tricky to bowl him against the right-handers, perhaps. Adil Rashid, 4 overs, no maidens, none for 33. It's a bit short today, Adil Rashid. He has been a bit since he's come back from the Hajj, but I suppose just finding his feet. And Sam Curran, 3 overs, no maidens, none for 29. So England, if they're going to win this match and win the series, they haven't won a white ball series this summer, have they? They drew the ODIs 1-1 with South Africa, but 1 rained off. Mm-hmm. Did they not lose both the ODI and we're forgetting the Netherlands series? They won the Netherlands series, of course, but they lost 2-1 twice, 2-1 in the ODIs, 2-1 in the T20s to India. So Jos Buttler would love to get a series under his belt, and to do that, their batting lineup, which hasn't really yet fired in England, it did in the Netherlands, is going to fire today.
Got 230 the other day, didn't they?
They got 230. Yeah, they got 230.
The T20.
That's very true. They did in the first T20. Yes, they did. Yes, but they'll need to do it again. Now then, on Wednesday we have the start of the 100. Yes. I'll be back here. Will you be here on?
I'll be here. Yeah. I'm staying here from now.
Oh, lovely. Yeah, are you joining us?
No, we have training tomorrow.
Oh, training. Well, good.
Joining up with the squad, yeah. No, yeah, well, we get together tomorrow ahead of the first game here on Wednesday.
And Southern Brave are the defending champions.
Yes, we are.
Who are you playing on Wednesday?
We have the Welsh Fire in our derby game.
That is your derby, yes. It's a tricky one to turn that into a derby. Johnny Bairstow still a Welsh fireman.
They've done really well, I think. They've Welsh fireman Joe Clark, Tom Banton, Ben Duckett. They've got a really strong batting lineup, the Welsh Fire. So I'm sure it'll be a great game.
Tell us about the tournament last year. Obviously, you'll have fond memories because Southern Brave won.
Yes.
But how did it go? Did it live up to expectations? Was it exactly what you thought?
We ultimately don't know what to think. I think the cricket side of it went a lot easier. It was a lot easier to understand, and we adapted to a lot quicker than we thought. We kind of got together. Obviously, none of us having played the format before, and we all thought it was going to be this big new, change that was going to take ages to get used to. But we quickly established after we played 1 practice game up at Lords against the London Spirit, and it was pretty much like a T20 game, just with slightly less changes of ends and 1 less ball per over. I think maybe the challenges were slightly more for the captains to compute what's going on, who's bowling, which ends is the bowler going to stay on as such. And then when you're chasing, you're looking at a different scoreboard. You're not looking at the squoreboard you've just become accustomed to,
counting down and counting up.
You're not looking at required run rates and the like. You're trying to figure. The batters were saying they were almost trying to take the 100 scoreboard and compute it back to
turn it into runs per over.
Yeah, so and a traditional scoreboard. But aside from that, the cricket side of it was really good. I think the standard was really strong with kind of the best of the English players. I think it'll be even better this year. I think the standard of the overseas players has gone up from last year. There's slightly better.
COVID hit it last year,
Exactly.
didn't it?
So none of the Australians and the like could come over. So we've got better availability when it comes to that. And like most of all, even when we were just coming out of COVID, the crowds were great last year, and that was really great to see. So
I wanted to ask you about that, because I went to the Roses Derby, which isn't the Roses Derby,
of course,
Northern Superchargers against the Manchester Originals, and the cynic in me was expecting it to be, expecting Yorkshiremen not to bother turning up, because he's not Yorkshire, and people not really to care. Actually, the atmosphere was insane. Stephen Finn will not thank me for mentioning this again, but he was hit for 29 in 5 balls. One of them was a no ball, I think. The rest of them off John Simpson's bat.
His teammate at the time.
His teammate at Middlesex, but suddenly playing for the Northern Superchargers. And then off the last ball, Bryden Cass hit 2 runs to take the Superchargers to 200, and the Western Terrace went berserk. And that was what I didn't expect to work. What I did expect to work were the things that didn't really. I mean, they didn't work in the men's game. They worked in the women's game, but the bowling 10 balls.
Yep.
The very first 10 balls of the 100 last year were bowled by Marizanne Kapp. Danny van Niekerk, her wife, put her on to bowl, saying, well, if we got 10 balls where you can swing it, you may as well bowl them all here. But the men didn't really do that as much. Is that simply because actually fast bowlers don't want to bowl 10 balls?
Yeah, James Vince asked me once. I bowled a good set of 5, and he said, "Okay, do you want to keep going?" And I said, "No, thank you. I'm good there." I think for the most part, if you haven't taken a wicket in that first 5 balls, even if you're bowling well, you're reluctant to go again, because chances are those batters are going to get you. Whereas if you've taken a wicket and there's a break in momentum, there's a break in play, you don't mind. Also, you've had a little break from, you've had a 12th men have run a drink on, and as such, you don't mind going again. There was still some balls of 10. I don't think it's a huge part of the game, if I'm being honest. It's just a wrinkle.
But you can see a way, can't you? I mean, this is what I didn't see much of. 20 ball power play.
Yep.
David Willey could bowl 15 balls. And, his great strength is swinging the ball early on.
Yeah.
And I just thought I might see it a little bit more of that.
Yeah, it's hard to bowl 15 balls out of 20. Physically, it is tiring. You can easily bowl 10 of those, like George Garton and Craig Overton did that for us. Last year, they're strong power play bowlers, so they often, would kind of bowl the power play deliveries between them.
If you're a spinner, perhaps if you take a wicket off the 5th ball,
it's a no-brainer almost. So
think,
we had Jake Lintock quite a few times bowl a 10, especially if you get a wicket in those first 5, because you can bowl them quickly as well, and then obviously 10 balls is 10% of the whole game, and if you're a spinner, for example, and you can whip those through in 4 or 5 minutes, and you get a wicket in there as well, that's actually quite a big chunk of the game. So I'm sure we'll see the game evolve. I'm sure it'll be slightly different this year than it was last year. We'll find out very soon.
Tell me about the atmosphere in the grounds. I mean, because they were all double headers last year.
Yes.
The women's 100, incidentally, obviously, is not starting on Wednesday because the Commonwealth Games are taking place. But I found that it did make for a slightly different atmosphere. The women's games almost always being the first game on, and then the men's game being on second. There was just this, it didn't feel quite like a T20 Blast game. I mean, were you aware of that when you were out there? I'm not saying it was a better or worse atmosphere, but there was something slightly different about being in these matches.
It's hard for me to say whilst I was playing, because ultimately when I'm out in the field bowling, anything could be going on really. But there was certainly a lot more children at the games. That was evident. A lot more families. Ultimately, because the tickets were really cheap, and that's really important. A family of 4 could come for 40 quid, whereas in some grounds in the Blast you're paying 40 quid for 1 ticket, aren't you? And that itself is actually a huge thing, isn't it? So I think that was really good. I think, going back to your point before we get back to this game, I was also surprised with how, say, the Southern Brave fans, you could tell they were actually supporting us, and it was a home environment here. I thought for the first few years, my argument, when people were obviously so anti the 100, my counter argument was, you don't really need to come and support the team. You can kind of just come to watch the good cricket that was going to be on show, and there's some great players on show. So to actually have that genuine home support from year one, I was really pleased with it. And even I was just doing TV before the game. There's people here in Southern Brave shirts today, and that carryover is hopefully going to continue. So look, obviously we start again on Wednesday. Hopefully we can defend our title, and more importantly, hopefully we have great crowds in again.
Well, the England batters are out there, the South African teams out there, Jason Roy and Josh Butler. Jason Roy struggling to find some form. Thoughts, predictions of where this game's going to go? Keshav Maharaj, as he has done a lot this summer, is going to be bowling the first delivery to Jason Roy. Thoughts from Tim R. Mills, and then it'll be Atif Nawaz.
Yeah, big run chase coming for England. You could argue a big run chase for Jason Roy as well. Struggled a little bit this summer. Took a little bit of time off at the start of the summertime after the PSL. Decided not to go to IPL, and then as such had a bit of time off, spent some time with family, and then kind of a bit of a stop-start time with it with Surrey, and then into England. So big period in the game now for him.
It is indeed. Here we go. Maharaj into Roy, who works that away into the leg side to get England going. Out to mid-wicket. It's Mark Rumor Fields, a single to get England's run chaser underway. 1 for no loss after 1 ball. And here's a big series for Jason Roy, as we say. Under the microscope at the moment. As you say, he's had quite the workload over the year. It's a big favourite over in Pakistan during the Pakistan Super League.
Yeah, it was incredible with Quetta.
Yeah, big 100 as well over there. Managed to keep Will Smead out the side, and he was going good guns as well. Maharaj in once again. Very full, driven down to long off. That'll be Josh Butler underway as well. 2 for no loss now, England. It's just one of those explosive cricketers that is so exciting to watch. Jason Roy is so highly prized around the world. I'm sure a lot of people were lining up for his signature in January. In comes Maharaj again, this time back of a length. The ball's just pushed gently back to the bowler by Jason Roy. No run.
Yeah, the problem is, and people forget this, is when you play 12 months of the year, as a lot of these guys do, especially the batters.
Maharaj in once again. This is full smash down the ground. Down to long off, another single.
When you're literally going tournament to tournament, franchise league, international series, you aren't going to just dominate it for 12 months. You are going to go through highs, as you spoke about in Jace's example. He had a brilliant PSL, smashed it everywhere, and then he's had a bit of a lean time of it this summer, and that's just kind of the way professional sport works.
Another fullish delivery from Maharaj, driven down to long off for a single by Josh Butler. Yeah, it's a challenge, isn't it? Just to keep, because the expectation is that you're gonna, you're invincible and you got to keep going. But there's things that happen behind the scenes as well, maybe in your personal life, all sorts of things, and they impact your game. As that ball is thrashed out towards long off once again by Jason Roy. Another single, very tidy start to the innings from Maharaj. Didn't look to turn the ball too much, not too much air being given, keeping it nice and full, not giving these two destructive batters much room. But when they're both going, there are few as destructive as Roy and Butler. Possibly, even though they've had some challenges of late, I'd still say I'd put my neck on the line and say the most exciting opening partnership in world cricket.
Yeah, that's a typical one to say off the top of my head, but you're right up there. Especially, I was just playing in the IPL a couple of months ago, and Josh Butler was just on a different level to everybody else. It was a joke, really. Even some games, he took his time. He was maybe a bit more circumspect in the power play, but he was still there. He was maybe a runner ball, just over a runner ball for 30 or so, and then he turned that 30 into 100 and win his team the game. He was on a completely different planet to everybody else. Back to this game, I'm looking forward to seeing this guy bowl. Amrit Nortje hasn't played the first couple of games. Come in for Kagiso Rabada for this game. He bowls rockets.
He does indeed. Rabada out with an injury, not too serious. We expect him back for the Test series, but Nortje is definitely a boon for this side. As he begins his ascent almost, as he runs into bowl, back of a length, squaring up the batter a bit. He pushes the ball, diving save at backward point. No run for Jason Roy. 91 miles per hour, I beg your pardon.
First ball straight into his work, isn't he? So a little note on the field, he's got both of his men out on the leg side, so fine leg and deep square, so he has to bowl very straight. He can't afford anything outside off stump, because at his pace that ball will race away. He's got to slip in, but then he's got a short third man who's very straight, who's just now being swapped actually, and backward point and extra cover, so he can't afford to really give anything outside the off stump. You may even see Jason Roy step to that leg side to try and access the offside and use the pace on offer from Nortje.
In comes Norkia now. He bowls. It is back of a length, angled in towards Jason Roy, beg your pardon, who works this out to square leg, just in front of square, I would say, and another single to the score. Yeah, he's going to kind of push that angle coming in towards the right-handed batters. In Norkia, as you say, both those deep fielders want a fine leg, very, very fine, it has to be said. And then deep square leg, almost dead straight, almost dead in line with the batter. Nobody down the ground and nobody beyond the inner circle in the covers. He's had a little look here as Josh Buttler. Will he be dynamic here? In comes Norkia now. Angles in towards Josh Buttler again, who can just drive this wide of the fielder at mid-off, and they get them through for a single. 93 miles per hour, that delivery from Norkia, really ramping up the pace here.
Yeah, just edging up, isn't he? 91, 92, 93. He is, he's one of, if not the quickest bowler in the world at the moment. I'm sure Woody would give him a good run for his money if he was fit. Umran Malik he bowled absolutely rockets in the IPL. Didn't bowl quite as quick in the game or two he played here this summer, but he's one to watch, young guy from India.
Norkia in once again, back of a length, guided by Jason Roy. Doesn't quite time it to Gully.
Oh, no.
They run through for a single. Nobody was backing up the throw at the non-striker's end. That's going to run away for 4 buzzers. It's poor discipline there from South Africa in the field. It's Keshav Maharaj who holds up his hands.
No, that's David Miller's fault for me. There was nobody backing up. David Miller was at the fielder at mid-on, and he'd moved round a little bit to his right, but as such wasn't backing up at all. You could argue that Maharaj didn't need to throw that ball. Jason Roy wasn't going to be out should he have hit the stumps, but what you do say in general is the person throwing it's not their fault. There should be somebody backing up. So I think David Miller, the captain, might have to hold his hands up for that one for me. Yeah,
Norkia not happy. He's conceded the first boundary of this innings, and through absolutely no fault of his own. 12 for no loss now, England, after 1.4 overs. In comes Norkia again. And Josh Buttler driving this time. That's a good diving effort at mid-off to prevent the boundary. Either side of him, it was going for 4. Good stop there by Lungi and Gidi. 13 for no loss. 1 ball to come in the second over. Roy on 9 off 7. Josh Buttler 4 off 4. Something about overthrows in England. Something about them. Always seem to go England's way. With apologies to any New Zealand fans tuned in. 13 for no loss. 1 ball to come in the second over. In comes Norkia now. This is short and it's been pulled hard by Jason Roy. The fielder at deep backward square leg has a bit of ground to cover, so the batters will make it back for 2. That brings to an end a fiery over from Norkia. 10 runs off it in the end, but some serious pace. Every single ball of that over in excess of 90 miles per hour. England 15 for no loss after 2 overs. Making a dent in that target. 192 is a huge target. We didn't necessarily anticipate a high-scoring game here today, but it's clear skies now, not expecting any more infringement on the game. You back this England team to at least take it close.
Yeah, look, if England still have one of the stronger batting lineups in world cricket, made, in hindsight, bringing David Willey in for Richard Gleeson as well just lengthens that England batting order as well. David Willey, he bats in the top order in for his county side and franchises around the world, so we've got more hitters coming in down the order, but look, a long way to go. These two, 15 not out off 2 overs. Josh Buttler, one of the world's best, as is Jason Roy. So yeah, England will be confident with how it started, but a long way to go. And Gidi, he's been excellent so far this series. He's coming into the attack.
Yeah, Lungi and Gidi replacing Keshav Maharaj, just the 1 over for him. Sangidi in now into the pads of Buttler, who flicks this away fine, and that's going to run away to the fine leg boundary for 4. And that's Josh Buttler's first boundary of this innings. First sort of one off the middle of the bat for England. 19 for no loss after 2.1.
Yeah, just tucked off the hip. That's one of the advantages of in the power play. The bowler just straying in line. Josh Buttler fine leg up in the ring, so just had to get it to the left of him. That ball runs away for 4.
He's into his work as Josh Buttler, pounding the crease as he awaits Lungi Ngidi, who bowls. This time the ball's driven to mid-off. They run through for a quick single. There's a shot at the non-striker's end. In fact, he didn't collect the ball at all, did David Miller.
Yeah, it would have been close if Miller was able to pick it. It would have been one of those where he would have been pick up, dive and throw all in one motion, diving forward. But Josh Butler had a scamper on it. It was the definition of a quick single, but as you say, David Miller wasn't quite able to gather the ball.
20 for no loss. I can't imagine that training drill's any fun. Where you're trying to.
It's one of the ones you probably do when it like a wet day, a rainy day, because you slide and you're not getting, as you say, the grass burns and such on the floor. Where if it's been raining, you do those type of drills because when you can't do too much cricket. You say, okay, lads, we're gonna get your longs on and we'll do some diving and stuff, practice our technique. But you don't want to be doing those on like a dusty one in Karachi or Mumbai.
And Gidi in again into the pads. Big appeal for LBW. The umpire says not out. It was going down the leg side for my money. The umpire agrees. No, not that interested in a review. He doesn't really look towards his captain for a chat there in Gidi. I'll be pleased to beat the bat though. Nice bit of movement off the surface, just into Jason Roy. Comfortably going down leg, of course, but a little bit of encouragement for the seam bowlers. 20 for no loss after 2.3 overs. Jason Roy 11 off 9. He's on strike. In comes Ngidi. And this has been smashed, but only as far as mid-off. Again, didn't really seem to time it. It was a slower ball from Ngidi, 75 miles per hour that time. And Jason Roy just did pick it, but couldn't quite time it.
Yeah, the England batters all series have struggled with Ngidi's off-cutter. He bowls it really well. He gets a flick over with his hand really late and gets some good revs on the ball. And I'm pretty sure I saw a graphic earlier from Sky saying that I think every one of his wickets has been with a slower ball.
Wow.
Jason Roy did pick that delivery this time and just found the fielder, unfortunately for him.
Ngidi runs in. This has been pulled into the leg side again, not timed by Jason Roy. Fielded over at mid-wicket by the fielder running around from mid-on even. And they run through for another single. 21 for no loss. It's been a very good over this from Ngidi. Just the 6 off it so far, considering almost every shot from the batters has been an attacking one so far. So we take a look, another off-cutter there.
Yeah, that one definitely bounced a little bit off the surface. He gets a bit of overspin if you're talking about it in an off-spinner's term. So when it hits the pitch on a pitch that's maybe conducive to it, it just bounces just enough to put the batter off.
And Ngidi in again. And there's a big swipe at that, does Joss Butler, as the ball goes beneath his bat on the bounce through to the keeper. That one kept low. It was all sorts there. Licorice all sorts over from Lungi Ngidi, but in a good way for him. Just the 6 off it. 21 for no loss England after 3 overs. On the one hand, good start, haven't lost any wickets, but also just being challenged by the variation of these South African bowlers. And when we take a look at Ngidi, barely any change in action. The seam up delivery and the off cutter almost identical. I mean, there's a slight sort of angle of the hand. It's just
it's really, really hard. I'd love to speak to him actually about it. All jokes aside, it'd be the type of thing that if I was playing in this series, you'd catch up with the oppo and pick their brains about it, because he manages to let go of it really late. We just saw a really good side by side there, where at the point of release they almost look identical, and it's almost on his way down that he just flicks his wrist through and manages to get the ball to come out of the side of the hand. So it's an excellent ball, considering it's just an orthodox off cutter. There's no mystery about it.
No.
He bowls it as well as anybody. Dwayne Bravo is the other one that bowls the off cutter. Really, when he gets dip on the ball, he goes those really full ones that look like they're going to be a beamer, and then last second they just die on you. So he's bowled really well so far in Ngidi.
Now then, Keshav Maharaj is a change of ends. He was bowling from the pavilion end, and he comes from the hotel end now, as that ball's been hit hard, but can't beat the diving extra cover fielder. They'll take another single, England. A terrific piece of work there at extra cover. Prevented a surefire boundary there. If it had gone either side of him, that was 4. It's being stifled a little bit. Here, Joss Butler, he's got 9 off 7. In comes Maharaj. Down the track comes Butler. Just checks his shot a little bit, flicks it out towards mid-wicket for a single. I get the feeling he's looking to be more dominant there. Maybe smash the ball down the ground over the boundary rope. But again, just flattening his trajectory that time, Maharaj.
Yeah, he's a good bowler, Maharaj. Very cagey, very, very clever. He's bowled well all summer, hasn't he, really, in the ODIs and now into the T20s. Again, no mystery about him, just a regulation left-arm spinner.
Mid-on is kind of up into the circle as the next ball to Roy has been flicked to square leg. They run through for a quick single. Well run that. The ball did go straight to square leg. And then to tell you about this field. There's a long off, deep mid wicket. Everybody else is up inside the circle. In comes Maharaj. Josh Butler makes a bit of room for himself and gets a thick outside edge. That's going to trickle away to the deep third boundary for 4. Well, certainly wasn't where he wanted to get it. And that's the problem. He's been hitting it out the middle of his bat. The minute he gets an edge, he goes for 4.
And we'll wait to see on replay. I'm pretty sure that was not far away from bowling him. He backed away a long way. Josh Butler, Maharaj followed him. Thick outside edge. Quinton de Kock ends up well outside leg stump. That ball almost would have cannoned onto the top and middle stump. So a bit of fortune there for Josh Butler.
Maharaj in again. Back of a length. That one goes up in the air and the catch is taken. Maharaj strikes and it's Josh Butler, England's captain. Will have to go again, looking to loft that through the infield. Gets a thick outside edge. It just floats into the waiting hands. The short third fielder up inside the circle. And that's a huge wicket for South Africa in the power play. 28 for 1 after 3.4 overs.
It's almost an identical shot, delivery, and then ultimately dismissal from the previous ball where Josh Butler backed away looking to access the offside. Gets a thick outside edge, but this time didn't get a good enough contact on it to beat the man at short third. Lungi Ngidi was there this time. It takes a simple catch in front of him. Josh Butler goes for 14. South Africa, as you say, their first wicket. Big celebrations all round, rightly so. Josh Butler, the prize scalp at the top of every England innings. And that brings David Malan to the crease.
Yeah, Malan's out on a good run at the moment. It's never good to see the back of Josh Butler for England. It does look a little bit gloomy on our screens at the moment. It's not so gloomy out there. It looks nice and reasonably bright. No threat of rain or anything like that. England will need to pick this up though. 28 for 1 after 3.5 overs. Josh Butler's back in the hut. David Malan, again, only a few years ago, was the #1 rated T20 batter in the world with a career average of over 40. Strike rate just under 140. That big 100 against New Zealand, of course, in Napier back in 2019. The terrific player. Going to need something special from him today, England, if they're to go all the way. 28 for 1 with a career average of over 40. Strike rate just under 140. That big 100 against New Zealand, of course, in Napier back in 2019. The terrific player. Going to need something special from him today, England, if they're to go all the way. 28 for 1 as the garage music playing out here in in Southampton. Now then, Keshav Maharaj just making sure his field is exactly right. He's got a long on, a deep mid wicket. As in he comes to David Malan, who just defends that ball to extra cover. There is no run. And that is the end of a successful over for South Africa. 28 for 1 after 4 overs, England. Here's their captain. Well, their recent captain, I should say, in the ODI series, Keshav Maharaj, who dismissed England's captain. And he was so frustrated, Josh Butler, when he got out. Flicked his bat in the air and actually rather impressively managed to catch it because it's not an easy thing to take. Great awareness from Lungi Ngidi as well there. It's always hard when it's in front of you, isn't it? It's dipping in front of you to get forward. Instinct tells you to go backwards. 28 for 1 the score, and it is going to be the catcher himself, Ngidi, who's going to bowl the next over from the pavilion end. Jason Roy on strike. In comes Ngidi. Roy makes a bit of room. Big swing, no ding. He tried to smash that ball over mid-wicket. No contact. A bit of frustration creeping into this England batting.
Yeah, and look, only 82 miles an hour on the gun, but that ball really kissed through to Quinton de Kock. Lungi Ngidi finished his previous over with 3 slower balls in a row, so maybe Jason Roy, you get yourself into a bit of a guessing game sometimes trying to predict what the bowler's going to deliver. That time pace on, just skip through the crease nicely.
Did indeed. Ngidi now running into Jason Roy. He bowls. Roy's got a hold of that one. He's pulled it hard, but he's picked out the fielder. Deep backward square leg is Paklaqueo out there. And it'll just be the single. And sometimes that's even more frustrating to Malan. He's all very well sort of not middling it, but it's even more frustrating when you middle it, you pick out a fielder.
Oh, I wouldn't know, to be honest. There's not too much middling going on when I'm at the crease.
Now, I saw you hit a massive 6 the last time I was here at Southampton.
Yeah, Yuji Chahal, one of the best spinners in the world, just plonked him into the stands, but
just digged him over mid-wicket like it was nothing.
In a losing cause, unfortunately. But yeah, you're right. Sometimes that's where you would tail enders when you middle the ball and you run. You think, okay, I've middled it, I deserve to run here, and before you've looked up and you've noticed you've hit it straight to the man at cover, and then you run out before you know it.
It's very frustrating, one can imagine. I hope you got the NFT of that shot. 29 for 1, 4.2 overs gone. Lungi Ngidi now runs in with a slip in place. He bowls back of a length, and Milan just riding the bounce there, plays it with soft hands. The fielder from point runs in, and Milan is off and running. 30 for 1 England to 4.3 overs. There's Jason Roy going out a runner ball at the moment. 15 off 15. He's going to need to accelerate.
Yeah, South Africa were in a similar position at this point of their innings. There was some good bowling on show from David Willey in particular. Then they managed to accelerate the last over or so of the power play, get themselves to, what were they, 45, 50 for 1, I think, at the end of the power play. And then obviously they went on to get a really good score.
And Ngidi in again. Ball just on a good length. Jason Roy just shuffles across his stumps and works it out towards mid-wicket. Pekla gets the throw in. Just another single to the score. 31 for 1. 2 balls to come in the 5th over. Over in my part of the world, in Wembley. Big game happening.
Yeah, just kicked off, isn't it, I think? Or about to kick off?
Kicking off in about 5 minutes. Coverage of that will be on BBC Radio 5 Live. Here on 5 Sports Extra, we're going to bring you this game to its conclusion. And remember, you can see clips on the BBC Sport website and app. And the highlights of today's game are going to be on as well at 11:20 on BBC 2. Make sure you stay tuned for that. Or tune in, rather, for that. And Ngidi now into Milan. Just strikes him on his pads, but they managed to run through for a leg by as it didn't go too far from the batter. Fielder at point had to run in, and now again we noticed this a bit earlier when the South Africans were batting, that left right hand combination wreaking havoc mostly with the umpire. I mean, the fielders are fine, then a square leg becomes point and mid off becomes mid on, it's fine. A couple of people have to run, no problem, but it's the umpire who's getting the steps in today.
Yeah, it just makes sense to stay at point, doesn't it, really? You often find that in county cricket, the umpires just say, no, I'll just stay here, thanks.
Lungi Ngidi running into a very determined looking Jason Roy. He bowls, Roy waits on that and guides it, but only as far as short third, inside the circle. They run through for just a single. South Africa making scoring tricky at the moment. 33 for 1 England after 5 overs. Roy on 17 off 17. Milan on 1 off 3. A few thoughts on this first passage of play from you, Timon, and then you're going to be joined by the dashing Dan Norcross.
Yeah, big over now. It looks like it's going to be Nortje to bowl the last over of the power play. South Africa will be desperate for another wicket. England will be looking to knock at least 10 off this over. They'll come out of this in the 40s. You be happy with where you are. Obviously, a target of 192 is quite large, especially here at the Ageas Bowl with the bigger boundaries. I think we only saw 1-6 in the whole of South Africa's innings, so six hitting, not the easiest.
No, and Roy, again, 17 from 17, just finding the going a little bit tough, as he has done all summer, really. Just hasn't found his fluency yet. Just seems to be trying hard to get, maybe something, not trying too hard, but just that sort of urgency to get at the ball. So it's going to be Nortje running away from us from the meaty centre end. That's an edge and through to the keeper and gone. Roy's gone. You could hear the edge from here. It was short. He went for a big swinging pull. It got big on him. And it's flown through to the keeper. 91 mile an hour short ball. That is pacey. Roy's got to go, and England have lost their second wicket. They're 33 for 2.
Yeah, unfortunate for Jason Roy. Slow walk off begins. Every single ball that Nortje's bowled today has been over 90 mile an hour. This time banged into the wicket. Jason Roy just clearing that front leg. Big celebration from the big South African. He's pumped up. That ball carrying nicely through to the cock, as you'd expect at that pace. Mentioned South Africa would want another wicket before the end of the power play, just to peg England back a little bit. I guess who's coming to the crease with the sound of that crowd?
Well, I think he might be the man who's been in the best form of his life, one of the best forms of any player's life. It's Johnny Bairstow. He's having quite the summer, most notably against the red ball, but against the white ball as well. He's found a fair bit of fluency, and he is. It's amazing to think that about 6 months ago, a lot of people were wondering, I think we did as well actually here, kept on getting bowled, and couldn't really get that average up. He couldn't find any consistency with the bat, and somehow we find ourselves with him having scored, what is it, 4 Test hundreds this year, or 5? It's something absolutely ridiculous, averaging the best part of 100 against the red ball, and it's white ball that we sort of thought was his better format. England are going to need him today, that's for sure. Henrik Nortje is bowling to him, and he's got some real pace going at the moment. He's got a very curious, rather military run-up, Henrik Nortje. He's like a sort of stiff toy that comes out of a Swiss clock on the hour.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I like it.
These arms and legs sort of very straight and stiff and purposeful. You wouldn't say there was fluidity. It's like, it's not Michael Holding. As he runs in now, right arm over the wicket. And bowls a bouncer that goes for 4 over the top of the keeper's head without any intervention from Bairstow at all. And flies to the boundary. That was some serious pace on that.
Yeah, that's buys as well. That's not wide. So that ball wasn't overly high by the time it reached Bairstow, but it just kept climbing. Such was the pace of which Nortje bowled it at. Really slammed it in, and Bairstow managed to get underneath it, but the ball, as I said, just kept on climbing. Quinton de Kock, not the tallest man, but he's well far back behind the stumps, close to the 30-yard circle. It's a quick delivery from Nortje.
Ball flew off the pitch. It wasn't like a ski jumper. Nortje is in again. That beats the inside edge of Bairstow's bat. This is testing times 90 miles an hour again. You see, there are ways you can bowl in the power play which just involve sheer pace, and it can be quite tricky for the batters here. 37 for 2. He's got a very serious visage as Nortje as well, isn't he? He doesn't instantly scream frivolity and a laugh.
A lot of people won't know what those words mean, Dan.
Well,
myself included.
Okay, well, you know, he seems like a serious fellow, is what I'm saying. He's in with a slip in place, and Bairstow push drives back to the bowler, and then he threatens to throw at the stumps as Nortje, and Bairstow, calm down. And there's no run. Yes, a smile seldom teases across that serious South African face. Furrowed brow, slightly hooded eyes.
Keep going.
We just see the replay of Roy's dismissal, and you can see why he went for it. He just got beaten for pace and bounce, really. Nortje, and again another bouncer, and that goes above the head of de Kock.
That's
a no ball for height. Here we go, because
that is the second bouncer for the over.
Right, and has he just signalled free hit?
Yes.
So we get a free hit for that no ball.
Yeah. So basically, if you want just to clear it up, the bumper that he bowled at the start of the over that went over Quinton de Kock's head, that was given 1 for the over, so it wasn't a wide,
over the shoulder,
but it was 1 for the over, and he's now bowled another one over the shoulder for the over, so as a result this is a no ball and a free hit.
Right, free hit, here we go. Nortje in to Bairstow. Bairstow drives, gets a Yorker length delivery, which he tries to drive and squeezes it out only about 10 yards away, back to the square on the onside, but they do rush through for a single. It's really terrific bowling from Nortje. He's bowled bounce after bounce, and then when he needs to find the Yorker on the free hit, he lands it to perfection. 39 for 2. His fastest ball so far today, out of the 12 he's bowled, if you count the no ball, 93.8 miles an hour. The slowest ball is 89 miles an hour.
Yeah, it's good pace, isn't it? He's been rested for a couple of games, sat out the first 2 matches at Bristol and Cardiff, which isn't you might not be too displeased about. Comes back here at the Ageas Bowl, bigger boundaries, bigger playing surface. Coming in here bowling rockets, so we're going to see him during the Test series as well.
Slip in place, Milan on strike. He has 1 from 3, and then he just jams down on a full delivery on leg stump, plays it back to the bowler, and there's no run. Well, from an England point of view, we can only bowl 4 overs and 2 of them are gone. But his last ball was 92 miles an hour, and the power play is done. England 39 for 2. They still need 153 from 84 balls, so nearly 11 runs and over as Tim Mills departs. Ebony Rainford, Brent has joined me. What have you made of this display of hostile fast bowling from Henrik Nortje?
He's quick, isn't he? I mean, I've seen him bowl a bit. I've seen him in tests over in South Africa. There's a lot about him to like, and it just kept coming. Those 90-mile-an-hour bowl. I don't mind the free hit no ball to an extent if you're going to really ruffle some feathers. England are behind the rate here. 39 for 2. South Africa about 53 for 1. They kind of fought back. And remember, England have got better conditions here at the moment.
Yep.
So they've got some work to do to really try and get back into this.
Well, they're going to have to get a wriggle on quite quickly. The Lionesses are about to kick off. Have they just kicked off?
Started
They've
a couple of minutes in.
Oh, a couple of minutes in. Now, I need to check with my producer as to whether we're giving you updates. As Maharaj starts a new over. Its first ball is short and cut away to backward point straight to the fielder. And there's no run. No, we're not going to give updates. So,
well, if you hear a big scream,
if you see a goal, Ebony, you're going to have to mute yourself somehow. And we don't have a mute button today. Maharaj in, off the back foot. That's played square of the wicket again by Bairstow, straight to the fielder at point. Again, there's no run. Maharaj has bowled really well in these white ball games. Bowls these sort of flat darts, doesn't he?
Yeah, just fires them in. Looking at his speed again, mid-50s. We'll see him bowl a bit flatter, and sometimes he gets it up to that 60-mile-an-hour mark coming around.
He's in off 2 or 3 paces, and that's push driven up towards long off for a single. Bairstow's second run from his 8th delivery, which gives you an idea of how well the South Africans have bowled in him when he's come in here. 40 for 2.
What do you think people's home setup is right now?
Home setup,
It's final T20. People want to see what's going on with the England boys. And they've got the do you think it's like a radio and a screen? Is it,
well,
you're
if
in
they don't have pay TV, because the cricket will be on,
so they got us on the
paid
radio
subscription service, so they might have us on the radio.
Yeah.
They'll have the Lionesses on the telly.
And mute the TV.
And then you have another TV for the red button coverage of the Commonwealth Games, I guess.
Yeah.
Maharaj in, and that's worked into the onside out towards deep mid-wicket for a single. Because a lot of, for example, I get to watch a lot of netball in my house because my wife's a big fan of netball. Used to play it a lot. So that's on every day. There's two games.
You get beaten out.
Games every day.
You're on the iPad.
No, I don't mind. No, I don't mind. Right? Yeah, I like watching it. It's a good game. Maharaj into Bairstow. That's driven again up to long off for a single. So the iPad, you see, can provide me, if I want, I can have the cricket burbling on quietly on the iPad, or I can have the radio in my ears.
Yeah.
So I can have the Commonwealth Games cricket in my ears. I can have the netball on the telly, if I want. There's all sorts. We live in a golden age. What a time to be alive.
We are in a lucky time.
What a time to be alive. Maharaj into Milan. That's pulled out to deep backward square leg. It will be cut off, and they're coming back for a second. This could be tight. Throw comes in, and well run by Milan to get back there. It is a very long boundary, of course. So he sort of went slightly on the throw, but it is Nokia doing the throw, and as we know, he can bowl at 90 miles an hour, so he can probably throw at about 120. End of the over, 44 for 2 from 7. Bairstow 3, Milan has 4.
Yeah, just looking at that last over again, just 1s and a 2. I think they're struggling to get out the blocks here and find that momentum. Just got to get. What they don't want to do is back it up towards the end and having to go too hard. Do you know what my nervousness is? That both of these no, the cricket will finish earlier, won't it? I was going to say, what if the
cricket finish earlier, but weather permitting? Yes.
Well, what if they both end up sort of colliding and it gets quite tight for both?
Worlds colliding.
Yeah, as in the finish for both.
What do we do? I don't know.
We stay here.
Well, yes, we do. Of course we do. Yes, I forget. Yeah, that's our job, isn't it?
Yeah, it's more the people at home. It's a lot of sport.
It's a lot to take in. I do think there might have been a case for perhaps delay or starting
a fraction earlier
today, but it's difficult to do. People have bought tickets, and the Ageas Bowl is a very fine ground, but it's not the easiest one to get to, so people would have bought train tickets for certain times to get here. Tabriz Shamsi is into the attack, the left arm unorthodox, and his first ball is cut down through backward point. It's running away towards the boundary. Fielder runs round, and it's back to Quayo out there. Tidies up a couple more to the total, 46 for 2.
He came back well. He got a lot of treatment in that first T20, didn't he? And then
Cardiff, though.
And then he got it going in Cardiff.
Really did.
Found that rhythm.
Shamsi, 3 in the ring on the offside, and fine leg up inside the ring is into Bairstow. And that's short and pulled without timing out towards deep square leg for a single. Yep, Shamsi also got taken to the cleaners in the first game, but he's got quite low action, hasn't he? He sort of tries to bowl it almost like under the bat. So it's very hard to time, and he never quite floats it up to you into the slot, does he? So you sort of end up doing an awful lot of pulling, but without timing, which is ideal for this ground, because massive boundaries on either side, square of the wicket. 47 for 2. The left-handed Milan on strike. Then he faces 6 balls. Then he got the 4 runs. Shamsi, 4, 5, 6 paces. He's in, and a reverse sweep is missed. Thuds into the pad, rolls out to the offside, and there's no run.
Follows through so well. To have that sort of very round arm, like you say, comes around and then gets back on the line and body drives through. Gets good purchase on the ball.
He's got an action, hasn't he? Often you see with spinners, in the great Shane Warne, he's coming off sort of 2 or 3 paces, and he was sort of felt like he was rolling it. He wasn't, obviously. He was spinning it miles. But Shamsi has a real sort of pace and gather into his run-up, and that ball punched off the back foot square of the wicket. Can't beat the fielder, but, well, it does in the end, because Nortje fumbles slightly and pushes it out into the covers, and they come through for a single.
He gives it a bit more air than a lot of the spinners. A lot of spinners fire it in late 50s in terms of miles per hour, whereas he doesn't mind giving it a little bit of a float above the eye line, gets it dipping.
I suppose with the wrist spinner. This ball's a little fuller, and it's just dabbed into the onside by Bairstow, who signals his intent by herring off for the first, but Malan has sent him back. And the throw comes in to the wicket keeper's end, and there's only one more to the total. 49 for 2. England getting hopelessly behind the rate here at the moment. 143 needed from 73 balls. That's nearly 2 a ball here. Last ball of the 8th. Malan on strike. What does he do? 3 in the ring on the offside and short fine leg. 3 out on the boundary on the leg side as Shamsi is into him. And he swings at this. He gets it finer to the right of fine leg, but only a single. England's 50 comes up. It's taken 8 overs. And there's Ebony Rainford-Brent sitting alongside me. He said South Africa 53 for 1 at the end of the power play. England 50 for 2. Don't forget you can watch in-play clips on the BBC Sport website and app. And tonight, highlights at 11:20, hosted by your good self, Ebony.
Yeah, myself and Moore will be taking you through all the action. Good insight he'll give you, and I'll just toss up a few questions, and he will take it home, make this game make sense.
It's good that you're telling him that now, so he knows exactly what to expect.
He started well.
Ebony's going to ask you a couple of questions. You're going to do all the work.
Yeah, you're going to bring it home, make it make sense.
Yep. And you're going to do it quickly because we've got to get back to the football. So you're not going to mess around. 1 take Mills tonight. Right, is this Pekla coming into the attack? It is.
Well, they need something here, but there's been no boundary in the last few overs. It's all been ones and...
Yeah, well, Malan and Bairstow faced 21 balls without a boundary, and Pekla is in around the wickets to the left-handed Malan. Malan pulls at this out towards deep mid-wicket, but straight to the fielder. They're just picking out the fielders here. Now, I fancy that, don't you think Bairstow's, going to target Pekla?
Bit of pace coming onto it.
And that'll be the challenge for Pekla. Does he have is he going to go with the slower balls, the change up? Let's take a look at the field. Deep square, deep mid wicket, long on, and a very wide long off. Very wide. Is that specifically for Bairstow, or is it for Pekla? I wonder. We've got a short third, backward point, extra cover, a short fine leg, and a deep point sweeping on the offside. Pekla into Bairstow, clips this nicely out towards deep mid-wicket, but there is a man there. It's gone straight to him. 52 for 2. England dealing in singles. They're not getting the 2s either, because they're hitting it a bit too crisply for the 2. And the rate has, very importantly, gone up to exactly 2 runs a ball required. 140 needed from 70 balls. Malan back on strike. 23 balls these two have now faced for 15 runs with no boundary. Been good bowling by the South Africans today. Pekla round the wicket to the left-handed Malan. And Malan hoists this out towards deep mid-wicket and is taken. Caught a deep backward square leg by Anrich Nortje. Malan desperately seeking the boundary, clipped the ball off his toes. He got elevation, but he's picked out the fielder, this time in the air. And he has to trudge off, and England are going nowhere here. They're 52 for 3. Malan goes for 7.
Yeah, again, a slower ball, just 78 miles an hour, and you can see Malan's desperately trying to find a way to force it. Looked like he just rolled his wrist like an off-cutter, took a fraction of pace off, not a huge amount, but enough. And because of the square boundaries being so big, it's quite hard to get that distance. Well done to the fielder as well, because that was a good bit of work there. Anrich Nortje running around that deep square boundary. England are in a bit of trouble here.
Well, the man who's looked most fluent with the bat in this T20 series has been Moeen Ali, you might argue. Got England's fastest 50 in T20 history in their first game. The second game at Cardiff, he didn't face a dot ball until he was out. Faced 17 balls. He scored off each of them before he was dismissed.
So fluid, isn't he, with his hands, where even other batters have struggled to get timing. He always just seems to have that perfect arc.
Well, when you think about the struggles that Roy's had in accessing the ball, timing it, Moeen Ali's been the complete opposite. If anything, he's sort of timing it so well that his almost defensive shots are going in the air straight to field.
They're very different type players, aren't they? One thing I like about Roy when he's in his pomp is that he's like a bully. His hands are going hard at the ball. He's taking you on early. Ali's much more of a let it come into his zone, and then those wrists get going.
There's so much time, doesn't he? He's facing up now to Pekla. Comes around the wicket to him and drives back to the bowler with his first dot ball that he's faced for a few days.
There you go with your stats. Sorry,
you're
I'm completely engrossed in the cricket, but I did just look to the right and saw England were on a advancing the football.
We're advancing the football, but we're not saying anything.
But we're not. It's not our job. Do you know the reason why? It's because our commentary on the football is going to be horrendous. So we've got to stick to the cricket.
Mine would be awful. Pekla in. That's driven up towards wide long off for Moeen Ali's first single. Bairstow was wanting a second, but Moeen Ali had his back to him. He had no interest in it at all. Yes, it's very difficult football commentary. There's an awful lot of identification, moving around very quickly.
There's a lot happening quickly. There's no breather, is there? At least cricket, you can reset.
Yeah.
Have a breath.
Have a natter.
Have a natter about
whatever. Yeah. Favourite night spots in Southampton. Pekla into Bairstow. Bairstow drives again, but carefully and along the ground to wide long off. End of the over. How many off that over? I'm just thinking, look, just the 4. 1 for 4, Pekla. 54 for 3. 9 overs gone. England are only going at 6 and over. They started this innings needing to go at 9.5 plus. And now they need 138 from 66 balls. And if there isn't a change in momentum very quickly, they are in danger of getting too far behind the rate in this game.
It makes it really interesting, isn't it, when you look at the stats of England and how they dominated, over the last few years, and the starts that they got off to, the strike rates, 140, 150 in power plays. But when one or two key players, Butler and Roy, who have been just trying to find some sort of fluency, they don't. It really just changes the whole tone, and then England are playing catch up the whole way.
Well, this is an interesting manoeuvre. Aidan Markram's coming into the attack. So South Africa have got two regular spinners in Maharaj, who's bowled 3 overs, and Shamsi, who's bowled the 1. But I think they fancy spin here. And Markram bowls these sort of flat off breaks. And he's going to come in from our end, the hotel end, commentary box end, into Bairstow, who does rather like his off spin as a general rule. And Bairstow just works the ball into the onside. Again, he's run the first quickly. But Moeen Ali's not a man who strikes you as being overly enthusiastic for the 2. And he settles for the single. Both of these players splendid against spin, but the off spinner can turn the ball away from the left-hander here. 34 balls in 28 minutes since England last hit a boundary. And when you're having to go at 9.5 and over, that is a bit of a problem. 55 for 3. Markram into the left-handed Moeen. Moeen winds up to drive and then just pushes an elegant off drive up to long off for a single and no more.
I feel like Moeen's got the boundary in him, just in terms of timing. A bit like Miller came out in the first innings, and even though people had been struggling, he just seemed to get his hands through the ball at the right time very quickly.
Here's Markram to Bairstow this time, who advances, but all he can do is work the ball up to long on for a single. This is good bowling from Markram. He's an awkward customer, isn't he? He just doesn't give you too much flight, and you feel you've got to come after him.
Yeah, flat.
Just pushes it through. How quick is that? 59 miles an hour. That's not a normal spinner's pace. He's in around the wicket to the left-handed Moeen, who thumps a drive out towards the sweeper on the offside boundary, but it's only another single. 58 for 3. Singles off the first 4 balls of the over. That was 62 miles an hour. Darren Stevens bowls at 68. Sometimes slower.
He's still going though.
Yeah. I think he might have lost half a yard of pace this year.
Jimmy's still going, isn't he? 40 yesterday.
40 yesterday, yes. Congratulations.
Yeah, he's doing well. He looks like he could go on another 5 years, I think.
Oh, yeah. No trouble at all.
No trouble.
Yeah, we're planning for the fifth decade.
Yeah.
Anderson. Aidan Markram, slightly ursine in appearance. At the top of his mark. He's going to come into Bairstow. Bairstow gets a short ball, which he pulls out to deep mid-wicket, straight to the fielder again. No gaps are being found here. There's a slight lack of subtlety in England's play at the moment. We've had 10 singles, a dot and a wicket in the last 12 balls.
But they're not even getting the twos out. You know, sometimes you find the angles that you can get up and back.
Last ball of the over. Moeen chips the ball in the air and is brilliantly taken. What a fantastic catch that is. Superb from Stubbs, running from short extra cover. It was in the air a long time. It had been chipped, and he then hurled himself one-handed, left-handed, plucks the ball out of the sky, and he's being mobbed by his teammates as well. He might be, because that is such a grab. That is a wonderful catch. Moeen goes, and England, well, they're in a hole. They're 59 for 4. What a catch this is. He had to make about 10 yards, and then he's at full stretch, left-handed, and he shields the ball from the ground, makes sure it doesn't touch the grass. So many times when you take a catch like that, as you fall, it can bounce out of your hand, but that really was a spectacular effort. Check that out on the highlights tonight at 11:20 on BBC Two, or even sooner. Just head straight to the website. It'll be there in about 5 minutes.
I'm sorry, first of all, I mauled your commentary because I just, you were in the middle of describing it all and you just scream, wow. That's one of the best catches I've seen in a while for so many reasons. There's catches where you think, you got no chance. And as soon as it went up, I thought, no chance, give up and just, let it one bounce and pick up. Well, not a player like Stubbs, who clearly is so athletic, running behind him and having to take that. But it's also because it was dying. Because sometimes it's one thing if you take a full stretch dive at sort of chest height, that's a little bit easier. But when it's dying behind you, oh wow, that takes some perception. Anyway, you look like you're leaving.
Yes, I am leaving. Atif Nawaz is going to come in and do the next 5 overs, and if he sees a catch as good as that, then he's a lucky man.
Well, Tristan Stubbs has done nothing but impress already in a few games. We saw it with the bat in the first T20, and now we're seeing him in the field. And the other thing as well, sometimes a catch just turns a game, the momentum of a game. If these two would have built some sort of innings, you would have felt England could have taken the flow back, but he's just shut that down.
Well, they're taking drinks at the moment, which is why we're chatting, but yeah, absolutely. I mean, with Moeen and Bairstow out in the middle, you think, okay, you got the right combination of explosive players who also have a ton of experience, so they can guide England through this. It's obviously a very difficult chase, 130 odd to get to win this game, 133 to get from 60 to win, and obviously Liam Livingstone also a very, very explosive player, but we've seen him do that in short bursts. This is now an opportunity for Liam Livingstone to play a longer innings, a big innings that can take England across. But yeah, as you rightly say, it was a pretty nice catch from Stubbs.
Nice catch.
It's all right, yeah.
We'd have all broken in half if we tried to take that.
It's all good. He's got a big smile on his face, as Stubbs, and as well as he might, because the ball just sort of cued in the air and he had to grab at it. He had zero margin for error. He's diving, he's moving, he's keeping his eye on it all the way as the ball's in the air. It's flying towards his his left hand side as he's diving, so he has no room for error. He's diving into open space, and he's got to just shield the ball from the ground as well. He does everything right in taking that catch, and yeah, I mean, that is comfortably the catch of the season, really.
Yeah.
Easily the catch of the last 12 games that we've seen in the last 24 days. And then there's a chap in the crowd dressed up like Robin from Batman and Robin. Oh, there's a Batman next to him as well. Sorry, I didn't recognise him without his cowl on. There we go. In comes Pecklaqueo now as that ball's driven straight down the ground very pleasingly by Johnny Bairstow, but only as far as long off. Just another single. England struggling to build momentum here. Already being stifled by the variation of these South African bowlers. They've made it so difficult to get the ball away. Kind of being open and dynamic and flexible, the South Africans. Just not committing to any kind of strategy. We've seen Keshav Maharaj come in from both sides, the hotel end and the pavilion end, just keeping the batters on their toes. Livingstone now on strike. In comes Pecklaqueo. That's a short ball, and Livingstone just evades it, just sort of matrixes out of the way of it, and the ball goes on the bounce through to the keeper. Livingston's got a smile on his face. I think that popped up further than he expected it to.
Yeah, I don't think it was the pace of the delivery, but he's just really bowled it into the surface and it's hit and then kicked. Did well in the end to just get the hands out of playing a shot.
Baklaqueo in again. It's a good length ball outside the off stump, but driven nicely and hard into the ground. Onto the third practice pitch in the covers, out to the deep extra cover fielder for a single. 61 for 4, 131 needed from 57 balls. It's been 42 balls since the last boundary that England hit. Gap is making it more and more improbable. Though, while Johnny Bairstow's there, there's always going to be hope. Livingston, of course, as well. Baklaqueo in. Slightly fuller length. Another excellent diving stop at extra cover. My word, these South African fielders, they came here to play today. It's that man Stubbs again.
I think Stubbs wants to be in this 11. He's showing what he's made of.
I think he's going to go from this series over to the Commonwealth Games and participate in the gymnastics at the moment, because he's throwing himself around like Nadia Comaneci.
Have you been watching?
No, that's just a classic gymnast.
Oh.
80s Olympics, perfect 10, no? Okay, in comes Baklaqueo. That one's been chipped down the ground, just wide the fielder at long on. They might come back for a second. No, the throw is good. And the throw is quick. It's just the 2 runs to the score. 62 for 4, England. Nadia Comaneci. You don't know Nadia Comaneci?
I know Simone Biles.
Yeah, no, that's we're thinking contemporary. Nadia Comaneci was a Romanian gymnast who scored a perfect 10 in the 1976 Olympics.
Oh, wow.
She won a gold medal in gymnastics. That's the first ever perfect 10 score. That's right. Tamar Mills tells us off. Mike, big gymnastics fan here. Full driven down the ground to long on, and there is a single to the score. 63 for 4, 129 needed off the last 9 overs. It's going to be tough for England. But my point is, I mean, it was very good.
That's definitely a question of sport.
Yeah. I'm waiting.
Fact, isn't it?
I'm waiting. I would smash.
Do you think most people would know that?
No, I would.
Well, you're bang
my
on
trivia,
your sport.
mate. Oh my days.
Are you on it? Yeah.
You want me on trivia?
Have you?
On a pub quiz? Oh my god.
Should we do like a TMS team that obviously split commentary teams?
Yeah, for sure.
But I'll be on yours.
Yeah, you and me, we'll do it. We'll take them all out. Yeah, we might get tomorrow.
I've got women's team sport. All right.
Yeah, me too. I like a bit of women's team sport.
And then,
speaking of women's team sport, I think we should bring people up to date on what's happening over in Wembley. It's 0-0 at the moment, and there's been a few chances on both sides, but still 0-0 over at Wembley. We'll keep you up to date. Shamsi in for his second over now. Liam Livingston on strike. If that ball turns sharply away from Livingston, he just flicks it. But can't beat the fielder at fine leg up inside the circle. And there is no run. 129 needed from 53. More than 2 a ball. It's always hard. And you got to go with that for 9 overs as well. Livingston, what can he do with this one? Shamsi in again. Another quick and flat delivery, which Livingston can just work out towards mid-wicket. They want to come back for the second, but the fielder was onto it very, very quickly. The crowd voicing their disapproval. They wanted to see the second run there.
There's been no 2s.
No. And it's a big ground. I mean, the trajectory of the ground means that you usually, watching a lot of games of Hampshire play here and England earlier in the season, even the Southern Brave last year, I mean, you see constantly see 2s and 3s. But today, the South African fielders have really spread themselves out nicely.
I think they've got the measure of the pitch well. They've got the long on and off fielders right on the boundary, but the others are in maybe 5 or 10 yards just to cut off those 2s.
In comes Shamsi again. Reverse sweep from Bairstow. Timed sweetly, but picks out the fielder. A deep cover, and it's another single to the score. 65 for 4. That required rate almost at 15 and over now. Now, we do see this done from time to time in T20 cricket, so it's not a hopeless situation for England, but goodness me, things need to change very quickly. Livingston on strike. In comes Shamsi. Down the track comes Livingston. He's hit the ball hard, but Shamsi, terrific bit of agility in his follow-through, gets his hand down and prevents the run. This is old school stifling here from South Africa, just squeezing the life out of England here like a rattlesnake. 65 for 4. Shamsi in. Lots of flight on this one. Livingston gets underneath. He smashed this. Is it right down the throat of long off? It is. The catch is taken by Keshav Maharaj. Livingston has to go. And Shumsey with a big celebration. England lose their 5th wicket now, 65 for 5. And that win becoming more and more improbable. Some concerned faces all round Southampton. Shumsey kept everything so flat and quick up until that one delivery where he just tempted Livingston into the big shot. He had to go after him. With 15 runs required and over, you have to start playing big shots. On that occasion, Livingston not finding what he was looking for. He has to go off the field for 3 runs off 7 deliveries. England in a world of trouble right now. 127 of 49 balls. Right now, it looks like that wait for a white ball trophy is going to go on a little longer.
Yeah, there's not a huge amount of pace in the wicket. He got one that he thought was there. It was a bit fuller. It was up above the eye line. He was able to get on that front foot, but still, it's hard to generate that pace. And Shamsi offered very little there. 50 miles an hour to one of his slower balls, so it's almost having to just try and generate something out of nowhere. Easy catch in the end for Maharaj as well. This doesn't look great, does it? 65 for 5. And they've just completely been dried up for runs.
Yeah, it's been a tough old season for Liam Livingstone. So much expectation on him to become England's new big power hitter. It's been come with a lot of challenges. It's never been straightforward. It's always been tricky scenarios in which he's come in, as is the one that now faces Sam Curran. He's also got a terrific strike rate, 144.9. He's going to need to bring that strike rate to the fore, maybe more. 50 balls since the last boundary. England 65 for 5. In comes Shamsi. Lots of flight on this one. Worked away down to long on for a single by Sam Curran. He's off the mark. Singles ain't going to cut it right now. 126 needed from the last 8 overs.
It must be about 45 minutes since the last boundary. I think when Dan was on, it was 35 minutes since the last boundary. But normally you still get a streaky inside edge or some bit of luck. There's been absolutely nothing. Nothing's
gone England's way. But I mean, it has to be said that South Africa fielded brilliantly. They've obviously been buoyed by the wickets they've taken, by that finish. They just took the momentum and just ran with it when they came out as well in the field. When we think about it, they got the worst of the rain breaks as well. Their batters had to resettle a couple of times, but they managed to just keep their shape as a batting side. They've come out and just fielded gloriously. A couple of moments of absolute genius as well. Excellent catch down low from Maharaj, and that absolutely worldy from Tristan Stubbs. Now then, 66 for 5. 126 needed from 48 balls. Sam Curran on strike. In comes Beklakwayo. And a swing and a miss from Sam Curran. The outside off stump. Beklakwayo just going about his business very, very pragmatically. Just beats the bat and then walks right back down to his mark. 42 minutes since the last boundary. 52 balls have passed.
Wow.
It's not something you see often in T20 cricket of any kind.
No.
66 for 5. In comes Beklakwayo now. Driven, but only as far as the bowler. A couple of dots in a row to start. And this the 13th over. And England really struggling to get anywhere at the moment. They just seem a little bit trapped right now. It's just 20 overs. It's very hard to fight your way out of this scenario. Doesn't matter how much talent you have. Beklakwayo now into Sam Curran, who drives. Doesn't quite time the ball. It trickles over to point. They do run through for a single though. 67 for 5 now the score. 125 needed from 45. It's all been singles and dots for the last 3 overs.
You're going to have to do something. Normally, if you're looking for your twos, it's all about getting angles where you can. You want to get right between 2 fielders, and the communication is going to be good up and down. What they haven't offered is really that width or opportunity to free the hands.
Bairstow on strike. Big swing from him out into the leg side, but again picks out the fielder. One bounce to Reza Hendricks, who gets the throw back, and it's just another single. Bairstow uncharacteristically, I mean, to be fair, he's middled so many deliveries, but he just keeps picking out the fielders. The frustration starting to creep into this England innings. 68 for 5, 124 needed from 44. I mean, it's a big total, obviously, 192 to win this game. you kind of don't mind them being all out for 80 as long as they go for it. What you don't want is to end up 120 off 20 overs. Pekka Koeo in again, inside edge onto the pad. That's why there was a stifled appeal. The batters run through for 1 run. Yeah, bring the deficit down by 1 more. It's just been a very long time since we've seen a boundary, some entertainment from an England fan's perspective. South African fans obviously thrilled. It's a big crowd here in Southampton. There's expectation in the air as Pekka Koeo in now, and that ball's been pulled away again into the leg side, and it's wrong-footed the fielder at deep backward square leg, who started running in the wrong direction. And that is England's first 4 in a very long time. 54 deliveries.
It's unbelievable. Like, we've been sat here for nearly 40 minutes, maybe over 40 minutes, without seeing a boundary. And even this, I would argue, if the fielder had picked up the ball earlier, may have got there, but ended up getting wrong foot and went to the left instead of the right. Didn't realise it was going to spin. Oh, a little bit of relief, but wow.
Well, The Great Escape is a song that's playing on around the Ageas Bowl right now. It's going to take a great escape for England to win this game. Will that boundary be the catalyst for something more? Still 7 overs in this England innings remaining. 119 to win from 42 balls. Sam Curran on strike. It's the British Shamsi who runs in and bowls. This is short. It's been hammered high and long, and that's a monster 6 from Sam Curran. Over the mid-wicket boundary. And finally, a big cheer, a cheer of relief from these fans here in Southampton. They came to see 6s and 4s. And Sam Curran, after the longest wait, is now delivering 79 for 5.
Hello, picked that up early. It was short, but the intent was there. Just got the hands up and threw the ball.
Shamsi in again. Lots of flight on this one too. Curran hits the ball hard, picks out short extra cover, and there is no run.
This looks so different in intent when you see the bat get up.
Yeah.
As in, sometimes with batters, when you start getting tentative, you don't really lift your bat up and you're poking and prodding. But he's ready to hit it.
Curran with that big high backlift faces up to Shamsi, and this one's been smashed down the ground. I don't think he's got the distance on it. The catch is taken it long off. It's Aidan Markram who takes the catch. Shamsi has another wicket. England, just as they looked like they were poised to creep out of that hole, fall deeper in it, deeper into the abyss. 113 needed off 39, and they lose their 6th wicket. 79 for 6, 13.3 overs. Curran is furious with himself. Really, he had to go for it.
Yeah, I think he just took his momentum slightly out of the way of the ball. You can see what he's thinking, clear the front leg and try and get it. Almost just took himself a bit out, and especially on a wicket where there's not a huge amount of pace, you almost have to get that timing to perfection. Well, he gave us a short glimpse or a little bit of hope for England, but after that wicket, it just feels like England now it's a matter of time. South Africa have been all over them. Shamsi, it's been excellent. Still has an over and a half to go as well.
Yeah, it's a big challenge for this England side. What they'll take from this will be a bitter disappointment to finish that run of 12 games on a loss as well. Huge expectation, of course, from this England side. So highly ranked, highly respected around the world. Considered, rightfully so, one of the best teams in the world in white ball cricket. Just haven't been able to put the pieces together in succession this summer. Is it the workload? Is it the schedule? There'll be a lot of discussion after this game, no doubt. David Willey, the new batter, who's come in. He's on strike to the British Shamsi, who bowls. The flighted delivery's bowled him! Willey was looking to smash that over the mid-wicket boundary. Shamsi had other ideas, and now he's on a hat-trick. Figures of 3 for 15 for Shamsi from 2.4 overs. South Africa all over England like a cheap suit.
He really enjoyed that one. Tossed it up, but right on the stumps. Just a little bit of purchase off the surface. David Willey under pressure because he has to come in and get on with it, so he's gone for the big heave-ho. Head out of the way and just didn't watch the ball. Ended up taking that, well, pretty much middle stump. That's almost a perfect delivery for a spinner.
Yep, hits the top of middle stump. No fielders required, and now the British Shamsi finds himself on a hat-trick here at the Ageas Bowl. Gloomy skies above, but nothing gloomy about this performance from South Africa.
There's more South African fans here than there were in Cardiff. In Cardiff, it was complete silence when South Africa did something well. Here you can look around and see those dots of green, and they're enjoying it. They're soaking up quite a potential big win here, and I think it would be quite frustrating for England because the last game they lost by 58 runs. You know, so they had one good game that you'd say stand out from this white ball summer. Yes, they won that first T20.
Yeah.
But again, it's gone back to a big margin of defeat, potentially. Look,
113 needed off 38. Yeah, I mean, well, you never know, I suppose. 17-9 for 7 is about as good as knowing, to be fair. But it's Chris Jordan who's come out to face the hat-trick ball now. Then some close fielders coming in. There's a slip in place. You don't often see that in T20 cricket. In the 14th over, there's a leg slip, a slip, an extra cover, a short third, long on and long off are back, deep extra cover.
Get a catch in mid-wicket.
Yeah, they've got a mid-wicket down, well, he's coming in now to short mid-wicket, the fielder, Tabraiz Shamsi. Smelling blood here on a hat-trick. Chris Jordan, can he keep it out? Shamsi in, lots of flight. Jordan drives the ball down to long off. An anti-climax in a way for Tabraiz Shamsi, but he'll still be thrilled with his work. One ball to come in his third over. He's got remarkable figures, and he's, arguably bowled a match-winning spell. 112 needed from 37.
Yeah, unbelievable control. And also, you look at how Shamsi got, he got a lot of punishment in that first T20, but he's bounced back so strong, showing why he's one of the world's white ball best.
Shamsi in again. Flatter delivery, worked away by Johnny Bairstow out towards mid-wicket. They take the first one quickly. They're coming back for the second, and they will make it comfortably. Big cheers from the crowd. And we still think there's something in this game. Well, if they get there, it's going to have to be spectacular. 110 needed of 36 balls. Company range for Brent. We'll take a leave. Tamal Mills will come in alongside me. 87 for 2 England. And a very disappointing performance from their perspective, but obviously from a South African perspective, they've been absolutely outstanding in the field. Excellent body language, just approached the game as positively as they possibly could. 10 feet tall out there in the field. Put endless pressure, relentless pressure on this England team.
Yeah, I think you have to give a lot of credit to South Africa. I think England will definitely be very disappointed with how this batting effort's gone. But I really enjoyed the way South Africa attacked the power play. I thought Nokia and Ngidi, Maharaj all bowled excellently, so you have to give them credit to how they started their defence of this total. And then, as you say, from there there's been some brilliance in the field. They were really sloppy in the field, weren't they, in the first T20, but since then they've come back really strong.
Peklequeo now in for his final over into the pads of Jordan. There's a big appeal for LBW, but that was going down the leg side. The umpire's not interested. No, Peklequeo just turning around, having a little chat with his captain. Captain says, forget about it, son. 83 for 7. This is well.
Worth a look.
He's changed his mind. He said it's worth a look. For my money, it was missing leg stump, but we shall take a look. Chris Jordan missed that ball altogether. Just came in ever so slightly on him. We'll take a look at this review now. There's Peklequeo. Seam up, sort of slightly wobble, seam delivery. Did straighten a touch. I don't think that's straight enough, though. I think it's missing.
Flush on the pad, but yeah, I tend to agree with you. And then the South African fielders agree. They've seen it on the big screen as well before we even get to ball tracking. The South African fielders are heading back to their fielding positions. We're just seeing it now. Comfortably missing leg stump. Well called.
Yeah, it just looked like it was a very straightforward decision for the umpire. Nobody was really interested in that decision other than the bowler Peklequeo. 83 for 7. And he's bowled really well on Ndile Peklequeo today. Figures of 1 for 15 for him from his 3.1 overs so far. Plenty of dots and conceded just the one boundary.
Yeah, Peklequeo's obviously been helped a little bit bringing Markram into the side, so kind of sharing the fifth bowling duties.
And he comes now to Johnny Bairstow, who drives this out towards mid-wicket. He middled it again, but again picked out David Miller out there. And the throw comes in just a single, 84 for 7. It's so frustrating. It feels like everything he's middled has gone to a fielder.
Yeah, and sometimes that's just the nature of T20 cricket. Johnny Bairstow is middling balls more often than not, isn't he? In all formats of the game, he's having an excellent summer. But yeah, look, 23 off 25, just struggling to find the gaps in the field today.
Peclaqueo runs into Chris Jordan. He bowls. Jordan's had a big swing at that. It's gone over the infield, and that's going to trickle away to the deep third boundary for 4. Well, Jordan's going to have a swing here, and why not? It's going to give this crowd some entertainment. They're going down swinging England. 88 for 7, 104 needed from 33.
Yeah, he's more than capable with the bat, Chris Jordan. You say the last of the England genuine all-rounders with Rashid and Topley to come. Got to have a big swing. I mean, a long way to go. It's going to need a fair few more of those, as well as some sixes along the way.
Rashid's got a first-class 100 to his name.
He's got
a couple of them, yeah. He'll back himself. This is full, driven, wide of the fielder at extra cover, who gets a hand to it, just slows it down a bit, but the batters will manage to get back for 2. 90 for 7 the score now. 102 needed off 32. Goodness, it's tough going still, but we've just seen it done. So you can't quite call it. You know, you can't quite call it on the game yet.
It'd be pretty remarkable.
It would be quite
if we were
spectacular
to get there from here, but it'd be brilliant viewing.
I put their win-whiz chances at like 1%, maybe less than. But I'm telling you, there's a chance. And Dile Peclaqueo now into Jordan, who has a big mow at that ball. Gets it out to mid-wicket. They take the first one quickly, and that's all they'll take. Throw came in quickly. And David Miller out there, and just one more to the score. 91 for 7. 1 ball to come in the 15th. 101 needed from 31 balls. If you want to stay across the Women's Euro 2022 final, you can do so on BBC Radio 5 Live. This match is what we're staying with here on Sports Extra. In comes Peclaqueo. Big swing across the line from Bairstow. Misses on that occasion as the ball goes below the bat through to the keeper for no run. And that is the end of Peclaqueo's spell. Outstanding from him. 4 overs, 1 for 23, conceding just the 2 boundaries. England 91 for 7, 101 needed from 30 balls. It's probably left wondering, Timal Mills, where it's all gone wrong. Give us your thoughts on where things have kind of gone away from England here and what they can learn from this series. And then to take you through to the end of this game, it'll be Daniel Norcross.
Yeah, that ball keeping a little bit low there to end Peclaqueo's spell. He's bowled really well, coming back after a couple of tough games. Interesting to watch the ball keep low. We'll probably be playing on this same wicket in a couple of days' time. Start of the 100. There doesn't seem to be another wicket prepared. Maybe the one next door, but we might go again on the same wicket. So just scouting out the pitch a little bit ahead of the start of the 100 on Wednesday.
Mind you, I suppose so is Johnny Bairstow.
Yeah, he'll be here, back for the Welsh Fire.
Because England players are available for the start of the 100. Test series begins on the 17th of August, so there's a fair few games they can play. Tabraiz Shamsi is going to bowl his 4th and final over. His first ball is to Chris Jordan. And Jordan goes back into his crease and pushes it back to the bowler, and there's no run. This has been a pretty limp display, really, from England with the bat, chasing 192 for victory. South Africa have bowled very well. They've used the dimensions of the ground very well, but England have never really got going. Shamsi is in wide of the off stump. That's skewed off an outside edge. Attempted diving one-handed catch is in vain. The ball runs to the boundary for 4. Much to the delight of the crowd, they've had very little to cheer about from an England point of view. Plenty of South Africans here today will take a different view. 95 for 7.
Yeah, it was a great effort from Lungi Ngidi. It was a big swing of the bat from Chris Jordan, no control. Ball looped over short third man, and Ngidi running away to his right, put in a valiant dive, tried to pluck another one-hander a la Tristan Stubbs, but wasn't quite to be.
Shamsi in, that's tossed up and chipped in the air, out over deep extra cover. Should get 2 for this. Bairstow's on his way back, throw comes in at the non-striker's end, but Bairstow's home. Haven't seen anything like as many 2s from England as we did from the South Africans as well.
Yeah, and that's really important at the Ageas Bowl on the big playing surface. As Nawaz mentioned earlier, Johnny Bairstow seemed to just be nailing it at the fielder on the boundary and only picking up singles, where South Africa definitely were picking up more 2s.
Shamsi's in, that's all, wrapped on a pad, big appeal, that looks out and is given. Now then, will Chris Jordan review? Yes, well, Johnny Bairstow's told Chris Jordan to review, and he has done. The ball was delivered from over the wicket. It turned back in to the right-hander, the wrist spinner. It trapped Jordan on the crease. It felt around about the knee roll. It looked in real time out, but I should point out we are quite a long way away because we're in the hotel here, so there's 30 odd yards before you get to the actual start of the playing service. So let's have a look. It pitches on middle. This is going
Pretty out, I think.
well
For me,
I think so. I'm going to go umpire's call, you know. So I think
It has turned, hasn't it? It did come back in.
It's turned a bit there.
Trap Chris Jordan on the crease. He's looking to play back. The ball has spun. We're just seeing if there's an inside edge, which there isn't. Flat line.
It's just above the knee roll. He's a long way back, isn't he?
Yeah, it's just whether this ball's going to clip or hit leg stump for me. Either way, the umpire is giving it out.
Here we go, ball tracking.
Impacted line.
Umpire's goal, but so close. I mean, that it really is the very, very edge of the ball. Edge, if you can have an edge of a ball, but it really is just a tiny bit of the ball clipping the leg stump. And umpire Alex Wharf raises his finger for the second time. Tabrez Shamsi has his 4th wicket, and England rather hideously find themselves on 97 for 8. It felt out in real time. I was surprised that actually that it turned a bit more than I thought. The left arm wrist spinner going around the wicket. It was, if you like, the leg break for the left-hander, and it pitched it around middle and off, and it's turned so much that it was shown that only just kissing the stump was the ball, but it's enough. Given out on field. So Adil Rashid is going to come out to bat. After him there's only Reece Topley. And England are subsiding here. It's been the story of their white ball summer, really. The batting has just not fired since the Netherlands game, and no disrespect to the Netherlands as a side, but they were fielding a weakened bowling attack. So weakened bowling attack on a good pitch, nice weather. Everything was against them, really. And since then, England's top order just hasn't really fired.
Were you there for that trip then? Did you make that trip?
No, I didn't, sadly. No, I would have loved to have done. It was sandwiched between test matches, and yes, it didn't quite happen for us, unfortunately. It looked great fun. Everyone who went, Henry Moran went, loved it. Shamsi is into Adil Rashid. Rashid comes down the wicket and gets sort of into a tangle. The ball comes off a bit of bat maybe and pad and rolls back up the wicket, and there's no run. Bairstow's still there. He's faced 26 balls, got 23 runs, which is a testament to how well South Africa have bowled, actually. We'll pick over the bones of this match in England's white ball summer when this match eventually ends. There are, in theory, 25 balls left, but England are in serious danger of not batting out their 20 overs again. I think Andy Zaltzman gave us a stat about the number of times England have been bowled out lately in 20 over cricket. Slightly a function of their approach, of course. Long on, long off back as Shamsi is in to Rashid, who pulls this up in the air down towards mid-off, and in on it's taken. Yes, Markram takes the catch. England the 9 down, and Tabrez Shamsi has picked up 5 wickets. His last ball of his 4th over, 5 for 24, and he's deserved every one of them. I was a little bit shorter this time, and Adil Rashid, desperate to get bat on ball, just slapped it down to long on, where a comfortable catch was taken. And England, well, they're not just losing this match, they're being absolutely marmalised. 95 more needed with 1 wicket in hand and 4 overs to go. It's not going to happen, so you have to take your hats off to South Africa. They weren't to be fancied before the start of this series, but they're giving England's batting order a lesson here. 97 for 9.
Yeah, it's been really impressive from South Africa. Big celebration from Shamsi. He's a very animated character. I spent a bit of time with him in the IPL a few years ago. As you can tell, he loves every single wicket that he takes, as if it's going to be his last. He's known for his celebrations. Don't know if you ever saw one in the CPL a couple of years ago. He actually got in trouble for it. So he took a wicket and pulled out something from his sock, and then it was a handkerchief, and then flicks the handkerchief and it turned into a magic wand.
Oh no, really?
But I think he got in trouble because technically he's brought a weapon onto the playing surface. It's worth a view on YouTube. Type in Shamsi magic wicket or something, and you'll see him turn a handkerchief into a magic wand after taking a wicket. But just gives you a little taste of the eccentricity maybe of Tabrez Shamsi. But he's bowled really well, especially coming looking back to that first T20 where he took some tap, he's been brilliant since for South Africa.
Right, Keshav Maharaj is going to start his fourth and final over, and he's hoiked out towards deep mid-wicket. Bairstow says no to the run. He's now just going to swing for the hills. It's going to be boundaries or nothing here. What is it with South African wrist spinners? Because Imran Tahir used to celebrate every wicket like it was either his first or his last.
Games took half an hour longer when Tahir was playing with his celebration.
Maharaj in. Down the wicket comes Bairstow. Just can't access the ball, and it ends up at his feet. Inside edge onto pad. I think Andy Zoltzman attempted to calculate how far Imran Tahir had run in his wicket celebration in his entire career. Oh, I see. Timal's just showing me it. Oh, yes.
It's like a mace.
Swing out towards the deep square leg boundary, and that'll be 4. Bairstow connects with one. I don't think it'll really bother Maharaj or the South Africans. It'll make Bairstow feel a little happier. It was full and he swept it inelegantly, but he got a good connection. Moves to 27. The England 100 is up. They're into 3 figures.
Yeah, so just showing Daniel Norcroft the celebration where the red hanky turns into. It's quite a large.
It is large, isn't it?
So it was in the.
Secrete that?
It was in the South African T20.
Right.
T20s.
Oh, this has gone up a long, long way. It's gone out towards deep mid wicket. This could be the end. It is. Bairstow's gone. England have lost by 90 runs. South Africa have dominated this match today. Keshav Maharaj has picked up the final wicket, and South Africa win the series by 2 matches to 1. A deserved victory. They've come back well after losing the first T20 in Bristol to win in Cardiff, and then, win. They've absolutely thrashed England. England bowled out for 101 off 16.4 overs, 100 balls England faced at the end of all that. Bairstow, the last man to go, hoiking a full ball up in the air. It went a long, long way up. Initially, I thought it might have gone for 6, but no, he didn't get the distance. Deep mid-wicket ran in, took a very, very comfortable catch. And as the players shake hands, there'll be some concerns in that England dressing room. This first summer since 2014, 15, that England have not been captained by Owen Morgan following his retirement after the games in the Netherlands, and they've had a tough time of it. A tough time in the summer. They failed to win a series. They lost to India 2-1 in the ODIs, 2-1 in the T20s. They drew 1-1 in the ODIs with South Africa, with one of the matches being a no result owing to inclement weather. And here, got off to that good start in the first game, scoring 236 at Bristol, but thereafter, South Africa have been on top. In truth, they've been on top with the bat and with the ball. And Timal Mills, a comprehensive victory.
Yes. I'm not sure many people would have maybe expected that when we turned up today for this match. It wasn't much of a contest at all, was it? I think England bowled well in the first 10 overs of the first innings, helped by a little bit of on-off with the weather, and then from then on in, it's been all South Africa, really. I thought they batted really well the second half of their innings to get them to a score of 190. I think David Miller was excellent, was really inventive. Aidan Markram played some really strong shots as well. And then England never really got going, did they? Both Jay Roy and Joss Butler struggled in the power play to get going, and from there, as you say, 100 all out in a T20 on a good wicket. There was a little bit of turn there for Shamsi, a little bit of turn for Moeen Ali that we saw in the first half as well, but aside from that, you'd say it was a good wicket. Obviously big boundaries here at the Ageas Bowl, and I'm sure England will debrief this game thoroughly and be slightly disappointed with how it went.
Well, they will, and I'm going to take you through the scorecard. And looking at this side, one of the questions I'm going to be asking you, Timal, shortly is how many of these guys would be in England's first choice side for the World T20, which begins in Australia in late October. And the batting lineup looks about as strong as England can put out there, maybe with the absence of Stokes notwithstanding. First man to go, Joss Butler, who's got some starts. He's actually looked in pretty decent fettle, but has also found ways of getting out. He went for 14, caught by Ngidi off Maharaj. 14 off 10, that was 28 for 1, and it had been a reasonable start at that point. Then Jason Roy was just becalmed again, 18 balls for his 17 before he was caught by de Kock off a rip-snorting bouncer from Nortje for 17. That was 33 for 2. Dawid Malan couldn't get going. He scored 7 off 11 before he was caught by Nortje down at deep backward square leg off the bowling of Pekla. That was 52 for 3. Moeen Ali, as usual, looked in fine touch, but actually slightly too good a touch. Looked to turn the ball at the onside, got a leading edge. It went in the air. It was in the air for quite a while, But what followed was one of the most stunning catches you could wish to see, one you must check out on the highlights tonight at 11:20 on BBC Two or on the in-play clips on the BBC Sport website and app. Caught by Tristan Stubbs of the bowling of Markram, one of 2 off-spinners today to bowl only 1 over and take 1 wicket and then come off. That was 59 for 4. Liam Livingstone was sort of England's last hope, but he couldn't get going either. 7 balls for his 3 before he was caught by Maharaj trying to slog a ball. He didn't get really to the pitch. Off, caught in the deep, straight down the ground of Shamsi, one of his 5 wickets. He went for 3. Sam Curran was caught at long off by Markram off Shamsi for 9. He had, in fairness to him, hit a 6. England's only 6 today. There were only 2 sixes in total in the match today, and England actually only hit 6 fours as well. That was 79 for 6. David Willey went the very next ball, slogging across the line, bowled by Shamsi for a duck. Chris Jordan, LBW to Shamsi on referral. It was a very tight decision, but it really wouldn't have made any difference. Jordan referred it, but umpire's call it was. Jordan went for 14 from 9 balls. Hit 2 fours in that time, arguably as fluid as anybody in the England team today. Certainly had the highest strike rate. Adil Rashid caught by Markram down at long on off the bowling of Shamsi for a duck. That was Shamsi's 5th wicket. And then the last man to go, Johnny Bairstow, who was really playing a lone hand, was caught in the deep by Miller off Maharaj for 27 off 30. The bowling figures make very pleasing reading for the South Africans. Keshav Maharaj, 3.4 overs, no maidens, 2 for 21. Anrich Nokia only needs to bowl 2 overs, 1 for 12. Every ball bar 1 or 2 was 90 miles an hour or over. He looked in great fettle. Lungi Ngiti, 2 overs, no maidens, none for 10. Standout bowler Tabrez Shamsi, 4 overs, no maidens, 5 for 25. And Dile Pechakwayo, 4 overs, no maidens, 1 for 23. And Aidan Markram, just the 1 over, 1 for 5. England bowled out for 101, lose the match by 90 runs.